Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the Dennis Herrera Show. I apologize for the inconvenience here, all the stupid loud noise on the music. My software was not connecting, and I had to restart, and I think it created like a double broadcast. I'm sure that it probably get updated with YouTube later and say there's an upcoming event here today, Saturday, but it's not. We're actually already live. Give me a second here while I make sure that I got my the right track in here. It looks like, okay, so Don, here we go. He found it. Robert, how are you, big bro? Did you have a good elder mid-afternoon nap? I hope that you did. I don't want you all crabby on me here today, running me like a sleigh driver. You guys love me so much. You like me to work too much. But here we are. Man, I had such a great lunch at La Hacienda with my brother Don Mitch. It was fantastic. This guy can tell stories for hours. We were there eating lunch at 11:30, and I left at 2:44. Well, at least that's the time that I checked. Maybe 2:40. But yeah, we spent that much time together today, and I loved it. I appreciate it. Don, you know I'm telling the truth. Jason Martin, how are you, my friend? Good to have you on here. Unc Andy, welcome back. Jason Martin, how are you, big general? The big general in my chat. Man, what's up? You already know who I'm talking to. Everybody knows who I'm talking to when I say what's up. And that is exactly right. We are talking to Brian. Big bro Ryan in the house. Big bro Ryan in the house. Hey guys, tonight we're gonna have the phone lines available. We're gonna have people call in, and well, let's have a fun Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening now. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Anybody else? Let me see. G bro, how are you? Good to see you here. DJ Dump Truck. Are you I already I. Se umale I. That means, I think it means I already ate. I finished eating, I think is what I said. You know, for having, for being trilingual for an illegal immigrant is very difficult. I agree, Don. It was an awesome time. Thank you so much for inviting me for lunch. It was great. Enjoy drinking that coffee. Those beans, though, and that coffee mix, you know I had to go before we left. Man, great food. I was actually surprised because I haven't eaten at La Hacienda for a while. I got to say the carne asada meat was very tasty. The chile relleno, which is a poblano chile, stuffed with cheese and, has egg on the outside, and I'm not really a fan of the red sauce because it's too many tomatoes, and that affects my joints. But for some reason, the green tomatoes got this little acid. I don't know what the acidity to it that it makes it taste better. It's kind of like almost like putting lemon. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is. They put lemon on the salsa. I don't know. I don't know how they make it, but it tastes pretty good. Leslie, how are you? Good afternoon. Good evening. Lily, Jesus, it gets worse. Dennis, the freaking menace. Hey, watch it. Don't put Jesus and the F word in the same sentence ever again. Otherwise, I will block your ass for using those two words together. Poor belly house. Nah, it wasn't that bad. No, I'm just joking. Let's see who else we got. Rock fan in the house. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, you know I've been trying to work on my backdrops here. So I started playing with. You know how many years I've had with this green screen? I've had 7 years with this green screen, and I never use it. It's just software issues. Just it never comes out good. It's supposed to be an easy thing to chrome it out, but for some reason I've always had issues with the software. I want to thank you guys for being here with me. Let me allow me a couple of things here before we continue. Technology is fantastic. I love AI and all that stuff, but we have a long ways to go. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that China, in some channels, I guess, they're starting to brag about how far ahead they are than the United States of America on AI technology. Well, I wish that they would concentrate more about fixing the problems that we have on the retard people. These guys want technology, but yet they don't want to assimilate to the laws and abide by the laws. And yeah, what am I trying to say to you here today? Let me gather my thoughts. I believe that is the generations that we have today living right now. We can benefit. We can definitely benefit from AI. But if we're not ready, if we're not taking care of ourselves already and understanding each other as it is, we're gonna be doomed with AI. I hope that makes sense. I hope that I'm trying to get my thoughts out there for you, while I'm still looking for the clip that I just lost. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Where is it? I had it in here somewhere. This is the official flip flop from the Biden administration. We've been saying it over and over, guys. But these people never want to listen. They always say that we don't know what we're talking about. They think that we're just lying. We're making things up. But in the end, as I said before, I don't like to just let things go because I know what's going to happen when we let libtards take over. They are going to destroy our country. I'm serious. The libtards are going to destroy our country if we let them. So we got to continue telling the truth. We got to continue fighting for the truth and just let the truth be out there. I don't care how many people get offended. I'm not here to tickle your feelings. I'm here to tell you the truth. It's up to you if you want to accept it or just reject it. But in the end, you're the one that looks like a retard. And we get to pay the price for you guys' stubbornness and hard-headed and lack of intelligence to be able to accommodate to what's happening in our world today. You know, the socialist mentality, the socialist Democrats, because that's who they are today, they believe that when you hear the children are our future, what they hear is, let the children tell you how to run the country. That's not what I hear. I'm sure that you guys feel the same way as I do. See, these libtards, they think that little children are going to tell us what to do. Little children are going to tell us how to save this country, this world. They're not. They are there to learn from us. And if a little child can teach you how to take care of this world, you should not be in office. You should not be a teacher. You should not be a professor in the university. I feel that if a child has to lead you, you have failed. Not just yourself, but society itself. Dang, that was some hard words. Man, somebody's upset tonight. Somebody got hurt. Somebody got their canoe all wet today. That didn't come out right. I apologize about that. Forget about the last statement. Hopefully you didn't understand what that means. Let's see what else we got in here. Let me make sure that I get hello to everyone. Common Woman, how are you? Welcome back. Static says, who is this guy? This guy is probably some hobo over there in Africa trying to hide from Muslims, talking about traitor to our nation. I don't know whose nation, brother. We're in the United States of America. We are not traitors. We fight against traitors. We just want to see them behind bars and in jail, probably for as long as they live. That's what we want. Hey, thanks for the thumbs up, the blue thumbs up. Let's see who else we got in here. Toffer, sinking ship. Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, ye of little faith. Your ship is sinking. Ours is still cruising and fighting till the end. We are not going to give up on this fight. Scott Byrne, how are you? My Canadian brother, eh? Hey, Scott, why don't you tell your brothers on Alberta to hurry the hell up and become the 51st state of the United States of America? We want Alberta. We are going to be so successful. We're going to be so rich. And, well, we miss having the people that believe that we have to earn a living. Whether you're providing a service or you're selling a product, that's how you have to earn the living. Some got to work hard with the labor. I think it's fantastic. You stay in shape and build muscle. Some of us have to sit here and play with the keyboard and talk with the microphone. That's just the way it is. What can I tell you? Let me see. I got too many. Let me see. This. Okay, it's not too bad. This damn monitor. I need to calibrate this monitor. You guys have no idea what I'm looking at. But this monitor's calibration is just horrible. Oh, my goodness. It destroys my thought. All right, let me go ahead and read some of the comments here on the chat. Let's see what you guys got for me today before I open the phone lines and allow people to call in, and let's discuss some information that we have. President Trump has gone to China. Some people are happy. Some people are not happy. But I'm happy and optimistic. A little bit frustrated with the libtards, to be honest. I was talking with Don about illegal immigrants and migrants today on lunch. And I was telling Don that everybody that comes here legally, they come here because this is a safe country or safer country. And we believe that the government is protecting the border and trying to keep out drug dealers, criminals, rapists, murderers, all the bad people that destroy our third world countries. And so every illegal migrant that comes here should come with the mentality that once you are here, if you acquire a green card, you should want to continue to respect the law and make sure that others also respect the law. This is how we contain order. This is how we achieve order in our country. You know, and we were eating at a Mexican restaurant, and we didn't sit there and just look at them the wrong way. You know, we don't assume that they're illegal. I have to say it because, you know, most people would think that way. But we don't think that way. We just see them as hardworking people. But if ICE was to come in, we cannot stand on the way. For that will make us traitors or criminals. We can't do that. So for somebody to call me traitor, sure. Call me a traitor if I'm breaking the law, if I hate this nation, if I don't support our military, if President Trump is not my president. Okay, call me a traitor. But if I am sitting here every single day defending the United States of America, its people, its freedoms, its rights, its Constitution, and I am an American citizen, then what's the problem? Who am I a traitor to? Illegal immigrants are not my people. Those who respect the law are my people. Seriously. Ay, ay, ay. We're going to go all night long. Hold on. The boss is talking. Hold on. What is it? What do you need? What's up there? Oh, hell no. Anywho, I'm going to fire this boss. Priorities are backwards. It's already 6 p.m., sweetheart. I will not be able to break this live in the next 5 minutes. 5 minutes? No. We're going to go for at least 4 hours. Right, guys? Hopefully not, unless it gets really good. We don't work for free, guys. We don't work for free. The wife told me too late. She wants me to take her somewhere, but it's too late. And once I make a commitment, I can't change it. Let's see. What's that? Let's see. Yeah, SCOTUS shut down My wife says, hi, Robert. As if you were that important. You know, that's the only reason why she likes you is you're always telling her to keep me in line. I don't like it. That's it. Yeah, Jason Martin hopes that Alberta joins us. Virginia was shut down by the Scottish on the federal level. They tried going higher than their state Supreme Court and lost. Suckers. Oh, Jason, big hello, big shout out from the wife. Don Mitch says, by the way, how about that Iranian Navy? That Iranian Navy, bro. Me and Don were laughing while we were having lunch. We were looking at these photos of the Iranian Navy, the submarines that they have. Bruh, these guys are a joke. By the way, I think that they should be destroyed immediately. They should be destroyed immediately. There should be no questions about it. Go ahead and use another few $1 billion and get rid of these little toy submarines from Iran. Yeah, you know what, Josh? We're gonna cosplay an American until we make it. We're gonna pretend until we can convince everybody that we are. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Bank is deported. Who's Bank? I don't know who the hell that is. Oh, from here? Oh, the bank. I see. Rejected. What did he say? What got him kicked? What got him kicked? Let's see. Guys, come on. He just asked the question. He says you are illegal. He obviously he's not American. His English is not his first language. He doesn't know that you're supposed to say, are you illegal? So don't, guys, come on. Poor guy. Hey, what is this? Why is this so small? Let's put this right here. I'm glad somebody put a chat in there so I can fix that screen on the alert. Boom, done. Robert says illegal. He's not. That's racist thing to say. Bank. Uncle Andy says I've protected a few cooks in my day back in the 90s. Hey, listen, man. I'm not going to say that we're going to be jerks about it. I'm just saying if. All right, here, let me make it very clear, okay, to everybody on this chat. Let's see. Robert says hi back to you, my wife. And Brian as well. And Jason as well. Yeah, so here's the thing. Somebody, I think I mentioned this yesterday. Yesterday. Robert put a $2 chat for you to join the chat. Don't do it. It's a trap. All right, let's start off fresh. A guy said, and I was talking to Don about this on lunch. Man, we talked for a long time. Wife had to call me and find out if I was still alive. Son of a... all right, so somebody commented and said that Ronald Reagan signed an order for immigration reform, which, yes, he did. The president has to sign the immigration reform in order for it to be legal. But that immigration reform does not get passed unless it goes to the legislative branch. So immigration reform has to be adopted by everybody. And the president does sign it in. But President Trump and Obama both tried to pass immigration reform, and, well, they rejected it. So there's that. Now, here is the most important thing, which is for some reason, you like that, brother? SoCal. Bro, I've been working so hard on this green screen, bro. I mean, from my skyscraper office. Oh, man. I want to be able to change the background, you know what I mean? Like, faster. I think that, just a little pause on Reagan here. I think in the future, once I get like a real actual studio, because I really want to get up there, right, babe? I really want to go to the actual big studio. Yeah. In God's timing, that's right. I want to be able to switch the sets. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like, you know, studio, like a real studio. I want to be able to change sets. I have this whole schematics of things that I want to build and just be able to switch back and forth. and then we can have an addition of some graphics, some green screen and all this stuff. Man, it's gonna be amazing. I can see it. It's gonna be awesome. But for now, we got to do what we got. Okay, going back to Ronald Reagan. This is one of the things that I don't understand why people, for some reason, they just don't understand. Even if we like the people and we don't want anybody deported, guys, come on. It is illegal, and there is a punishment for employers that hire illegal immigrants. There's a punishment for that. I think it's like $10,000 when they know that somebody is illegal and they still hire them. That is to protect American jobs. That is to protect green card holders' jobs. And they never get punished. So they continue to abuse it. And well, that just encourages, for more illegal immigrants to be coming into this country. And you guys know how I feel about it. I wish everybody can be legal, but we're sending the wrong message to the world, and we just can't do that. 3 million something illegal immigrants became resident and were put on the way to citizenship through Ronald Reagan's act, right? Immigration Act. But, doing those things, it feels like it's the right thing to do. But the problem with that is that because of things like that, we have had a massive illegal immigration into this country. And people think that it's okay because, well, we have laws, right? But blue states, they don't follow those laws. That's right, SoCal. And, employers are not following that law. So, I mean, what do you do when people know that if they are just here long enough, breaking the law for decades, they just feel like as long as they can hide long enough that they will get papers, and that's a problem. So I think that is a huge problem because the world is watching. The world has known that Mexico is the weakest border, but let me tell you what other border is very weak, and I think that people just overlook it. I haven't heard of any, I haven't heard of anything about the northern border, the border from Canada to the United States of America. There's no wall being built there. I mean, we can't even finish the wall that we have in the South because Democrats keep blocking us. They keep stopping us from doing our job. And it just happens to be that it's socialist Democrats. And, SoCal, you missed it, but, we were playing an interview between Nick Fuentes and Louder with Crowder, And Nick Fuentes' take on the interview was this. He says, when he was supporting Trump, right? And by the way, a year later, he changes his back. He just flipped. But he was supporting Trump because of immigration, right? Deportations and this and that. So the biggest thing is deportations is what he was concentrating on. But then he started saying that he's disappointed. We President Trump promised, massive deportations. Okay, right there. Who is blocking us from doing massive deportations? Now, Nick Fuentes believes that the president should do it anyway. But you and I as well, we know as well that Democrats have been defending illegal immigrants. I mean, they have a lot of paid protesters. I get it. But the point is, it's millions of them. And so, you got to change strategies. And here's the thing, and I'm looking at, and I'm trying to divide it so it makes sense. So, President Trump, right, is still trying to deport everybody. And then he changes something and says, we're going to keep some, right? But how do you square that with what Obama did? No, Obama did the same thing that Trump tried to do on his first term. Did you know that he tried to run the immigration reform? Trump tried to do that, and so did Obama. But the Congress apparently didn't care and didn't do anything about it. my phone, because I'm looking at your text, is typing everything that I'm saying to send to you. What the hell? Oh man, sorry about that. I got distracted. My wife texts me and I opened the text and my phone is like typing everything that I'm saying to you guys over here. Stupid phone. Stop listening to me. Privacy is important. But anyway, so Barack Obama, President Trump tried to pass immigration reform. Now, the way that immigration reform was supposed to work at is those who had DACA and TPS, right? They still have to qualify, but they were approved. They were approving an immigration reform, meaning that we wanted to have all DACA document holders and about 1 million other illegal immigrants in this country, including TPS holders. And because we wanted money to build a wall, the Democrats said no. And of course, some rhinos also said no. So we didn't get it. Now, for Barack Obama, just because I researched to see if he actually tried, I know he did. But I don't know how many people left or right voted, Democrats or Republicans voted against it or so. So, we want these things to work. But unfortunately, Nick Fuentes thinks, he doesn't like Trump. Let me say this, because we're trying to please Democrats and we're trying to please Republicans, okay? So in the way that we're trying to please the Democrats is this, okay? So they revolted. They don't want us to do massive deportations. They feel like farm workers and things like that, hospitals, blah, blah, blah. Those are people that we need here in this country. Now, I disagree with that because I believe that there is a lot of Americans that are not getting hired because third world countries and all these other people that are allowed to work here, from TPS holders specifically, they fill those positions and they don't allow for example, single mothers. To become a registered nurse is probably one of the fastest things that you can study for. Right, within 10 months, I think it is, you get to become a registered nurse, and then you get the position. Probably not a big high pay, but as time goes by, normally you will get more money, and you get benefits and all this other stuff, right? So if we allowing TPS holders to come over here and then give them the jobs, essential jobs, right, that Americans can have, because I know a lot of single mothers that want to become registered nurses because that's not the easiest. It is a tough job. You got to have the skills and you got to have the patience and, this and that. But it's something that is more achievable for people that are having a hard time with studies because kids, right? Okay, so that's why I disagree with TPS holders getting all the specific jobs, okay? But that doesn't mean that we are going to allow millions of people to stay here for fear of, oh my God, who's going to do the farming? Like, seriously? Have we not created the farms with Americans doing what they do? We didn't have illegal immigrants to create farms. Well, we did, but not everybody, as everybody says. We had a lot of Hispanics that are legal, residents, citizens, especially here in the eastern Washington, right? You got both of the big farms are up in the eastern side of Washington, and even California benefits from it. There's a company that benefits from the farming from here, from Washington State, and they're making bank, but we're the ones providing this farming that they need for like vitamins and things like that. Okay. So I'm not going to say, the company because they're, not being sponsored, but there is a company from South California where I actually work for, and I know that they have a farm here that they gather, the what is it, herbs and roots and things like that that they need for their vitamins and all this other stuff, okay? So I know that we have that. And there's a lot of Hispanics that this. We do have illegals, but we have a lot of resident green card holders and citizens, that actually love this country. And they know that they want to be here for until they die, so to speak. So we have that, okay? And then, President Trump is trying to see if we can somehow accommodate this so that we can keep some of these illegal immigrants, or these people that are their TPS has expired a very long time ago, and they don't mention anything, okay? But it's one of those things to where, like, okay, we want mass deportations, period. Okay, you guys are pissed off on the left about these mass deportations. Okay, so now we're going to try to work out something that we can keep some of those people that are not criminals, right? Some of those illegals that are not criminals, we're going to try to find a way to keep them here. Okay, well, that's not enough for the Democrats to be happy. On top of that, those rhinos, those flakes, those flip-floppers like Nick Fuentes, they are pissed at President Trump because they want mass deportation. They don't care. And when we tell them that blue state sanctuary cities are stopping us from doing mass deportations, he says, I don't care. He should be doing it. Shut the hell up, Nick Fuentes. You think it's easy to run the country and then put up with the baby tantrums that all you immature Americans are putting up to? Besides Nick Fuentes being a racist, I don't support him. I don't support his mentality. So what if the guy's smart and he can talk? He's not wise. He is stupid on the wisdom side of things. Look at his common sense. Now, this is for people that don't have common sense. You're not going to understand what I'm saying, okay? Here's the problem. Nick Fuentes says this. Okay, I voted for President Trump to do mass deportations. Okay, fantastic. Listen, and it's easy for me and everybody else to just sit here and, your home office and doing this and that and say what we say. But I'm going to say this. If Nick Fuentes feels strongly about mass deportations, then I want to hear Nick Fuentes go against every single leftist, socialist Democrat that has been making ICE look like crap. I want to see Nick Fuentes defending ICE. I want to see Nick Fuentes supporting the president. See, people think that just because we're over here and we have some information, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to say whatever the hell we want. That's not how it works. Nick Fuentes still has a lot of life to live, and he's way too young, not matured enough, apparently, to be understanding. But here's the thing. Like, I try to use common sense. Okay, so Nick Fuentes says that he wants mass deportations, okay? Now, that's what he wants. Okay. Sanctuary cities are not allowing us. Now, we're still deporting, but we're not doing mass deportations, right? So here's Democrats with their sanctuary cities are stopping us or slowing us down on the deportation process, okay? Now, this is Nick Fuentes' logic. Well, why don't we just vote for Democrats on the midterms and make the Republicans suffer so that they can learn how to deport people with mass deportations? That's his logic. Punish the Republicans, he says, on the voting booth. This guy is probably the most retarded, smart person I have ever met in my life, or I have ever seen in my life. I haven't met him in person. How the hell does that make sense? You are going to give the country to the one party that has been destroying it because you are not satisfied with the level in which this administration has achieved what they have achieved? There you go. You support Nick Fuentes. Hey, good for you. I will say support your country. You got to support your country. You got to learn to support your country. If it were just easy to punish the Republicans, fantastic, let's do it. But you know what? You're not punishing the Republican government. You are punishing ourselves. We are the ones that suffer, not the politicians. They still get their paychecks. They still get paid. We are the ones that suffer. It reminded me of AOC when she said that we were not suffering enough. What the hell is she talking about? Who do you think we are, you tyrant? That is tyranny right there. Only a tyrant will say, well, the people got to suffer more so that they can understand. What the, and why are you people are still voting for this socialist Democrat? I just don't understand. I think she needs to go back to bartending. Let me tell you something. I'm not the best material for politics, okay? And if I run for governor and I lose, oh, so what? I'm still going to continue doing what I do. But the point is, I'm not a person that believes in never try, never fail. No, we're going to fight, and we are going to fight until we see that we just can't do it. And then you know what? I wash my hands like Pontius Pilate and let you live in your garbage state that you create yourself. But you cannot say that I didn't try. That is my point. And I can have a better life. Believe me, I can have a better life than to actually become a governor. And I know that I am postponing doing some things because of that commitment that I made to you, my people. My man. I see you, man. I see you, brother. Hey, KT, what is KT doing over here? I thought that KT was a good person. What happened? The sheep are so stupid. Well, no, I think the K is talking about the Democrats. I don't think he didn't say you sheep. Begging in China, I wouldn't call it begging, but sure, you can call it that. That lucky one, why are you still voting for socialist Democrats? You have no chance. Well, first of all, we're going to get more seats. But the way that I've seen things, Jason, we got too many damn rhinos. Too many damn rhinos, bro. And that's a damn shame. I think that, you know, if I'm going to run, if I run as a Republican, it's because I believe on the agenda that the Republican president is doing. So for any Republican that goes out there and fights against President Trump right now, I'm sorry to tell you, hey, listen, just because you put up a fight against President Trump, it doesn't mean that you're doing the job that you're supposed to do. I understand that we have the three branches of government. I understand that we have the three branches of government to check one another. I get that. But if you are running as a Republican because you know the president is a Republican, you should support your whole complete party. Especially when we are fighting against a party who is not for America. We're fighting for a party that is for pro-illegal immigrants. I hate to keep mentioning the slavery party of the Democrats, but that's exactly why they love illegal immigrants. They don't have to provide health care for them. And illegals know that. They never leer, bro. They never leer. Unbelievable. And you know what? I got my cup of coffee. I got you guys here. That's all I care about. All right. I will open up the phone lines today, so pay attention to what's going on. All right, that's enough for illegal immigration. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're going to continue because this is a good topic. Let's go ahead and get to Saturday in America with Kayleigh McEnany. What a smart girl. You know, for a blonde, she's pretty smart. She is quite a firecracker. I love this girl. I think she was an awesome press secretary as well. So smart, very smart. Very impressed. All right, here we go. Let's take a listen to see what she says.
A viral moment on Capitol Hill this week. The Cato Institute just told Congress, give up on mass deportations.
About 1 in 5 Fairfax residents is someone who could be deported or who lives with them. It would destroy neighborhoods, rip Americans away from their spouses, parents, friends, families, customers, employees, employers, nurses, nannies, and teachers.
So, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. So you bring a massive, hold on, listen to me. If you are a socialist leftist and you happen to be watching this, now I'm going to clip this. Let me see. How can I clip this? Let me record this because I am going to put this in one of my shorts. Let me tell you this. If you believe that by having a massive illegal immigration coming into this country is going to hurt when you deport all of them, let me give you the reality. The reality is that our country was doing fine without these millions of illegal immigrants. So I want to have an answer. How did we allow millions of illegal immigrants to get jobs in this country that we now cannot get rid of them? And the excuse is that we're going to separate families. If they never get to be allowed in this country in the first place, they will never have to be separated. Whose fault is it? The person that is actually enforcing the law or the person that's breaking the law? If you are a criminal, if you're a thief, they will separate you from your family. Even if you are a born American citizen, when you commit the crime, you got to pay the time. It is that simple. It's not rocket science. You see what I'm saying? But now they're using this whole excuse that we have millions of people. Oh my God, we're gonna destroy businesses. We're gonna separate. Shut the hell up. This country was fine before these millions of illegal immigrants came here. So what's the problem? Get rid of them. Watch unemployment go down. Watch housing prices go down. Watch the economy of this country go up. It's not rocket science. It's common sense. Well, I appreciate everybody that is in this country. The bottom line is you got to be legal. And the one thing that you don't understand why it is a problem. We have a vetting system. We have a certain amount of people that we can accommodate in this country. If you don't follow that process, it becomes lawlessness. And everybody can come in here and destroy everybody else's well-being. Well, it's fantastic that illegal immigrants can have a business painting, landscaping, etc. It's not fantastic that Americans are losing their businesses. It's fantastic that you have illegal immigrants making hundreds of thousands of dollars being roofers while the American workers, who actually are roofers as well and have the technology to make even better roofs, have no jobs. You can't fight it, man. It's a common sense. This issue with illegal immigration is just never going to end. Even with when I understand, even when I support President Trump doing the immigration reform, even while I support that he can keep people here, I'm still sending the wrong message to the world. Why do we have a housing crisis? Because we haven't been following our immigration law. We haven't been vetting. How many people are coming in? Well, we reached 1 million. No more. We went past 22 million. Make that make sense. Hey, big sis, how are you, Tanya? Sorry, I haven't said hello to you, sweetheart. Man, I get excited, man. I get too excited. Darn Mitch. Well, he bought me lunch today. He found out that I just can't shut up. I got to keep saying the truth. There is a lot to say. There is a lot to say. But do you at least understand something of what I'm saying? Please tell me that you know that it makes sense. We have an immigration law. We have a vetting system. Here's what comes out of our immigration law and the vetting system. We make sure that every city and state has the right amount of population growth in order to sustain itself. And then we are vetting, meaning we want healthy people, people that can work and make an impact for the better of this nation. And then we can see how many people. Okay, this many people, healthy people. They are not going to be leeching off the government. They're not going to be leeching off the taxpayer dollars. Just because you pay a few $100s in taxes doesn't make you a taxpayer, because I know that when you do your tax refunds, you get more than what you actually paid in taxes. So technically, you don't pay no damn taxes. If you don't get a tax return, you're a taxpayer. I got a return this year. I didn't pay taxes. Well, actually, I did. We did. No, we did. Yeah. We came out to be about $6,000 in taxes, which is nothing. But we pay $6,000 after the rebate, after the refund that we got. Otherwise, it would have been like $11,000, okay? So we did pay taxes, but not even that much. Not even that much. So for people that have $35,000 income, yeah, you pay taxes out of your check, but you get that back plus. I made a little formula that I followed with a four people income, four people household, $38,000 income. This was a couple years back, and I said it last year, I believe. The results was this: they will pay about $2,000 in taxes a year. On an income of $35,000, you qualify. Pay attention. You qualify for health care, which I appreciate it. If you got health care, fantastic. Okay? For a family of four, that's about $1,000. That's about $1,000 to $2,000 a month in benefits, health benefits. And that's about $1,000, $800 to $1,000 in food stamp benefits. Just right there, the $35,000, you already getting that back. You're not even paying anything on $35,000. You got $35,000 on top of $38,000. You're making $75,000, almost $80,000 a year when it comes to receiving all those benefits. And then you pay that small amount of taxes, $2,000 taxes, and your return is $10,000. So not only did you actually double the income that you make yearly, that's about $35,000, $37,000 in benefits, plus the extra $8,000 tax return. You are in the negative $50,000 to $60,000. That's how much of a difference you make in this country if you're poor. You are negative poor in this country. So just imagine the illegal immigrants coming in here and getting benefits. The taxes that they pay don't mean jack squat for the economy of this country. But they do take jobs from people. Thank you, Tanya. Uh-oh, I see a little disco there. Let's see, where's this at? No, I can't click that one. All right. So anywho, I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and continue listening to this report.
20% of people living in a wealthy D.C. suburbs are illegal, while 10% of the state lives below the poverty line. And we have seen countless examples of illegal aliens ruthlessly committing crimes in our country, families ripped apart, children dead, and Biden opened the doors, and illegals swarmed in by the millions. Biden averaged over 2 million border encounters per year, and that is just the people we know.
That's it. Take a look at that. Take a look at that. And these are just what we know, she says. Not the ones that they didn't catch and not the ones that they didn't count. This is the ones that they know. Look at the huge jump. Almost 1 million during a certain time, and I'm sure that's COVID. But under Biden, millions and millions of illegal immigrants. And as you saw in there, they were destroying the borders, the barricades. They don't care about respecting the law. They're like animals almost. That's how desperate people act. They act like animals. And we had, what was it, polio or something like that, measles breakout in Texas. I wonder why. I know you don't wonder. I know you know why. But there it is. It is crazy.
And now even Biden's DHS Secretary
Now, these are encounters over here.
Alejandro Mayorkas says they should have
We don't let them in.
acted sooner.
There were areas of disagreement within immigration policy and in other areas, but I voiced my views. I was very pleased that in June of 2024, we took executive action that I thought made reforms that were sensible.
If those executive actions had been taken 1 or 2 years earlier, do you think Donald Trump would be the president today?
I am not in a position to speculate, but I will tell you that I would be far more better rested and less punched.
Of course, that's how all easy to say now, but when the buck stopped with him, Mayorkas assured us the border was secure.
It is my testimony that the border is secure. The border is not open. The United States Border Patrol agents are keeping our border secure. Congressman, we are very proud of our efforts to secure the border. DHS has toughened our border enforcement. It is as secure as we can make it. It is as secure as it can be.
Lies. There's no other.
Who's bullshitting? Somebody? PP Wombat? Yeah, I'm still bullshitting. That's your people lying to you, telling you border secure, border's not secure, border secure. They lie to you. I speak facts only, man. Don't even come in here, bro. Why is it for? What is the problem? Why do you think that's the problem? Do the math. Do the math and then write it down on the chat so that I can read the math. Do the math for every illegal immigrant. Find out how much money they get in refunds from federal. You can say that they don't, but they do. They do. I've seen people in Texas get over $20,000 on their tax return, and they are claiming people in Mexico. That's how stupid the government is. Yeah, that's right, on Candy.
Way to say that. Joining me now, Texas Republican Congressman Chip Roy, who called for Mayorkas' impeachment time and time again. I mean, now we know those were lies. Your thoughts?
Haley, first of all, great to be on with you from the great state of Texas. And yeah, you're exactly right. This is why I did call for his impeachment right out of the gate. I was the first congressman to do so. I drafted the memorandum along with my friend Andy Biggs from Arizona, calling on his impeachment. And it took us a couple of years, but we finally got it done. We finally impeached Alejandro Mayorkas. And I think maybe it left a mark, because now suddenly he's singing a different tune, looking at what can happen when you have executive leadership like we have out of President Trump, like we have out of Tom Homan, like we have out of now Secretary Mullen, where we're doing the right thing and we're removing bad actors, removing people who came here illegally. And that's everybody who came here illegally. And they're doing it, and it's the right thing to do. Because I can promise you the people of Texas were sick and tired of seeing what was happening to their families, the children dying from fentanyl, the gangs, the cartels, people like Jocelyn Nungare, who got senselessly murdered, just disastrously in a horrific crime. And I've become friends with her mom, Alexis, who's a great patriot and has been a great advocate for securing our border. The president has demonstrated you could do it. It is absolutely an abomination that Mayorkas is even daring to have the chutzpah to come out and now talk about what, we could have done or not done. He lied to me under oath. He lied to me at the House Judiciary Committee. We were right to impeach him. The Senate should have convicted.
Wow. I mean, do you think that should be looked at? Could that be something the DOJ should look at if that, in fact, was a lie before Congress under oath?
Well, I mean, I think the Department of Justice should look into all of those sorts of lies under oath, including Mayorkas and the previous administration, who was trying to sell to the American people something that was factually, demonstrably untrue. It wasn't just a political position, Kaylee. They knew it. They were doing it on purpose. And by the way, they were also violating laws, violating our parole laws, violating our asylum procedures to flood people into our country, knowing that they would kill Americans and endanger Americans. In other words, they were complicit. They were a part of the human trafficking regime. They had blood on their hands for little girls who were raped on the journey coming up from the Northern Triangle and through Mexico. The previous administration knew what they were doing for political purposes. You don't need to look any further than the conversation you were just having with James Blair and about the political activities of the Democratic Party, the redistricting, the ridiculous map in Virginia, trying to go to the Supreme Court and getting slapped down because they have no plan for America other than political power. They have no representation in New England, and they dare to challenge us that we're trying to make our maps more representative of Republican leanings in this state. They are all about power, not protecting the people of Texas, not about protecting the people of America, and we should look into all of that.
You know, I look at Fairfax County. I just have a few moments here. 75% of murders in Fairfax County are committed by illegal immigrants. There are real consequences. But Mayorkas's subtle suggestion that he was somehow in the Oval throwing punches against Biden, fighting to do more, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. Do you?
No, and Kaylee, not only in terms of his testimony under oath in front of the Judiciary Committee, we had private meetings with him imploring him to do the right thing. And he would arrogantly and defiantly say that they didn't have anything they should be doing differently. Again, they knew what they were doing. They were complicit. There is a reason that President Trump put President Biden's picture up as an auto pen, because he knows who was actually in charge. And it was the leftists and the Marxists, and Alejandro Mayorkas was one of those. He was making the decisions as the secretary. He was allowing that to occur. And Jocelyn Nungray is no longer here as a result.
Yep.
Lakin Riley is no longer here as a result. The American people are tired of it. They're proud of President Trump. He's secured the border. We're going to continue to do it. Next week, we're going to fund ICE and Border Patrol, where Democrats refuse to. And we're going to roll through elections in November because the American people know they want a sane party that believes in our country, believes in sovereignty, and believes in securing the people of the United States.
Yep. Angel families across the country unfortunately paid the price. Congressman Roy, thank you very much.
Be sure.
Unbelievable. So we know what the law is. We know they're not supposed to be able to claim taxes. We know they're not supposed to get health benefits, and yet I know thousands of illegal immigrants getting health care from the government health care office. They don't even speak English. They need their translators. How long do you think it takes for somebody to learn English in this country? I learned in 6 months, even with a heavy accent. I was still speaking English. Even today, people make fun of my accent. I don't give a shit. You obviously understand what I'm saying, and that's good enough for me. But I know that these people shouldn't get benefits. They just crossed the border. And yet, they are at the clinics getting health care, while Americans can't afford health care. So whether you think that they're not supposed to, they are. And I get it. They're not supposed to, but they are. You said they don't claim taxes. They're not supposed to, but they are. When the system, did you know that in the dark internet, there is actually a data of social securities that haven't been given to anybody, and if you start using those social securities in the system, that's how it gets recorded as an social security. If they try to run those through the system, and somebody has used these social securities or have been classified on they're not available for work, they don't know. But once the social security gets used as legal, it just stays on that status. The fact that you say President Biden was a great president, bruh, come on, man. You're a grown-ass man. You got 2 kids. I got some respect for you because of that. But you cannot tell me that, man. And you can even tell me that you are, oh, there's Real Fishy. Don Mitch, that's the guy I was telling you about. You should visit his channel and subscribe if you wanna get to meet him. I had a lunch today with Don Mitch, Jerry, and I had to talk to you. I had to talk to him about you. I showed him a picture of you, and so hopefully he come over there and visit you. Well, there you go. Whatever the case is, the point is that there's millions of them. Millions of them. And it's not like, we're here, Americans, we just multiply like rabbits. It's not that. I mean, if that was the problem, okay, I get it. It's fantastic. But that's not the problem. The problem is that it's illegal. Millions of illegals. I'm telling you right now, bro, the way that you think, I get it. It's the way it's supposed to be, but it's not. It is not. Brother, it's so bad over here, especially here in Washington State. It's so bad that illegal immigrants go and protest Governor Bob Ferguson because they know they can't get deported. Oh, 3 kids. My bad. Nonetheless, I still respect you for that. You actually connected with me, and I feel I can't talk too much shit about you because I respect you and your family. But some other people don't have that respect for me, so they don't get it. But still, bro, you're wrong about that, man. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. I agree with you that they're not supposed to, but they are. Okay? And you say, show me proof. Well, dude, I know thousands of people here. What do you want me to do? Tell them, hey, can you call SoCal and let them know? I'm telling you, they're starting to be a real, a little bit more, thanks, man. I really support, free healthcare for everybody. I do. I want universal healthcare for everybody. But who's everybody to me? Resident, permanent residents, and American citizens. That's who everybody is to me. Everybody else who is just here temporarily or illegally, they are not included in everybody. As a matter of fact, I don't include them in persons on the Constitution. The Constitution was made for American citizens. This is why it had to be amended for the black slaves. This is why it had to be amended so that it actually allows for women to vote as well. That's why we had those amendments. But if you saw my short that I put today and that I said, what is the reason why people hate this country more and more each day? Right? Some of you, obviously, that there is the socialist Democrat mentality. They're brainwashing people and telling them that Republicans are horrible, bad administration, even though the numbers on everything is really nice. It's great. And even though some numbers on affordability can go up due to price of gas, it's still nothing compared to what is raised by the taxes and regulations of the socialist Democrats. The regulations that they put on billionaires, on millionaires, on companies, who gets to pay for that? The consumer. The more burden you put on the rich people, and I'm talking about business owners, not just rich people, but rich people are business owners who provide thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs. We, the consumers, have to pay for that. They don't. They just raise the prices. That's how it works. So everything that we're going through right now because of the administration is temporary. I find very interesting, till this day, I find interesting that everybody on the left wants to say it is President Donald Trump's fault that we lost jobs. Wait a minute. So what are you saying? Are you saying that your governor is not responsible for creating jobs in your state? Wait a minute. Are you saying that your mayor in the city is not responsible for creating any jobs for the city? What are we saying here? You can't blame everything on the manager. You got to hold the supervisors responsible for the rest of the lead and the rest of the employees. There is a chain of command. You have the commander-in-chief for all of the United States. Look at him as a regional, as a director. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Why won't Democrats make foreign countries the U.S.? They want to, actually. They want Puerto Rico to be a state, apparently. I want Alberta to be a state. So we have some of the same mentality on some things. But again, just going back to my point, it's you have the president, which is the commander-in-chief of the whole country, right? Look at him as the director of our company, our business, the United States of America is our business. And then you have governors. They are managers for a certain area. We call them states. And then we have supervisors who have almost the same power as the manager, and we call them mayors. And then we have a group of leads who help make decisions so the department works good, and we call this city councils. When they mess up, when the city council messes up, they should be held accountable for it. When you hire illegal immigrants to be in the city council, you should be held accountable for it. Because if we, as we have found out here in Linwood, Washington, not Linwood, California, Linwood, Washington, one of the city councils that is fighting against us, she actually says, I wasn't even born in this country. I don't care about the United States of America flag. Why are you in the city council? Why are you serving in government at all? You don't love the United States of America. You don't respect our flag. Why are you here? How the hell did you get into city council? And then you have the mayors. The mayor here just kicked out big corporations like Starbucks. 100,000 jobs gone. All going to Tennessee. Averaging $75,000 to $100,000 salaries. What are we doing? And then they blame Trump. And then you have the governor. The governor is raising, my friends. The governor is raising a new tax, which is unconstitutional in Washington state. And bigger corporations like even Microsoft is thinking about leaving. Boeing has sent their 787 line to North Carolina. I believe it's North Carolina or South Carolina. Somewhere in the Carolinas. Now, they say it has nothing to do with the regulations and the increase in taxes, etc. But after the union, which I believe has too much power, I'll get to you, Karin. The union that has too much power, I believe. I used to be in the union, so I know that they're garbage. I don't mind supporting the union, but they got too much power. Last year, they were protesting to raise money, pay for Boeing employees. Fantastic. I'm okay with that. But you know what came out of it? They had to lay off a lot of people. They said we can't afford it. So now they're hiring a lot of people at a lower rate. And as they get promoted, as they get time in the company, well, they're going to have to lay them off once they get to a certain amount of money. And that, my friends, is how it works. And the unions cannot do anything about it because once the contract expires, Boeing has the right to say, nope, we're not going to go ahead and renew that contract. Or sorry, I don't have the money. They got to go. Cutting Edge, thanks for the super, bro. It is easy to see the problem if you see the prices even bigger on your internet every year that passes. It is because the state is pushing more taxes in that company, all thanks to the mayor and governor. We see this over there in New York with Mandani. Do we not? He supports a lot of illegal immigrants in his state. That's fantastic for him. Good job. But you're punishing the American people. You have an overpopulated state. Send them to Arizona. Imagine being able to deport people from states. that would be a new one. That would be a new one. Let me see, guys. I can't read everything unless you put a super chat. I'm not going to read everybody's comments. Unions are not garbage. Okay, I'm a little bit hard on the union, but again, they have too much power. So to me, it's garbage because they don't want to listen. Let me tell you why they're garbage to me. This is how I am, and this is why I see it this way, okay? See, when I work for a company, number one, on the interview, okay, they say how much you want to make. And I said, well, I'm a quick learner. How much do you pay? We pay this much. Okay, in 90 days, I want this. If I prove to you that I'm that good. 90 days. I work better than two people. The wife is witness. I want my raise. I put a number, and I want that number. Now, when I work for the company, I praise the owners. I give them thanks for allowing me to have a job. I praise the manager. Thank you so much for hiring me. I want to hear the same. Hey, Dennis, good job, buddy. We appreciate you being here. So, my philosophy is this. It is my job as an employee to be a greatest asset to the company. Help the company be very successful. That's my philosophy. And this company, particular company, has customers. I got to keep the customers very satisfied. How do I do that? If I'm in customer service on the phone or in person, I'm going to be very nice. I'm going to be very attentive. I'm going to make sure they're taken care of, period. If it is a building customer service, we have a quality department. We want to make sure that the customer gets the product with as least defects as possible. If anything, we want it to be 100% perfect. So I give praise, and I say, man, you know what? I love the owners of this company. You're brown-nosing. Yeah. Hey, you know what? These managers are fantastic, man. They're great. Oh, you're brown-nosing. Hey, man, you're doing a good job, buddy. Good job. Oh, you're... Shut up. See, you can say I'm brown-nosing when I give you praise before doing a good job. But that's exactly how I feel about the United States government. I feel that the government should work that way. I feel that the city council should support the mayor, and the mayor should support the governor, and the governors, 50 of them, should support the president. Can you imagine how much better and successful this country would be? I'm telling you, our forefathers, man, they were smart. That Constitution is phenomenal. It's near damn perfect if you follow it. If you really believe that it's for the American people, the Constitution is phenomenal. But the problem is that we have so many corrupted politicians out there that are making money out of corruption, that are making a career like Nancy Pelosi. Oh, my God, these people have been in office since they were born. That is a big problem. Terms. Chuck Schumer should be retired. Go back to Israel. That is the problem. Rush, babe, how are you? You got that right, Raymond. You got that right. I love you too, sis. So that's the way the government should work. Now, us as the regular employees who are not in government, what's our job? Well, our job is to make sure that we respect the law as best as we can. Why? Because the law brings order. So what do we have to do as citizens? Well, we got to be responsible. We got to be respectful to authority. Respect the police. Stop talking shit in front of their face. My right, freedom of speech, shut up. Stop doing that. That's very disrespectful. You got your freedom of speech, but you don't have the freedom to be disrespectful. You get a slap for that. You out there and you fight against the police, and then you wonder why the criminals go rampant. You wonder why your city is decaying. You got to support the blue. You wonder why you have so many illegal immigrants in here. Well, you can leave the door open. They're going to go right through it. If you don't support your ICE agents who are responsible for deporting people. See, they're supposed to be at the border, but when you have allowed them to come through the border, well, now they got to go inside the country and disrupt the cities and the state. They have to. There's no choice. The last administration effed it all up for us. Can you imagine if Biden would have at least controlled the border? We wouldn't have to do massive deportations right now, my friends. We would just be worrying about, hey, you know what? Let's build a wall just to secure it anyway. But we wouldn't have to spend billions of dollars getting rid of these people that came here illegally. Speaking of billions, I got some bad news for you guys. Kristi Noem, whom I really like and supported, apparently was irresponsible with their spending. Ay, ay, ay. Billions of dollars on useless warehouses where they could have actually built new places for less money. That's very interesting to me. I don't know how that worked. But she effed up, and I don't know what's going to happen to her, but I don't think having a side promotion is going to do anything for her. She is in big doo-doo. And again, like I always said, I'm not going to put my hands in the fire for nobody. And I'm going to defend them until, well, I can't defend them anymore. What's the other one? Pam Bondi. Aye, Pam Bondi. Used to be such a great lawyer. Man, she kicked ass. She put judges in jail. That's how good she was. But she's been messing up. That's why she got fired. So there is going to be some consequences to their mistakes. Cutting Edge, thanks for the super again, brother. Mandani had two reasons for that, because the position gave him some taxes to increase for the year, and two, because the Quran command him to tax us for being infidels. Oh, that's a new one. Ouch. Ouch. We're about to march with military and police. We're at, Rush. When are you doing that? Yep, my man says consequences. Omar in the house. Little bro, welcome. Bro, I don't accept stupid comments, bro. Come on, man. Grow up, will you? Grow up. I'll tell you what, man. There's a lot of humans out there that they get to become adults and they get old and they just never grow up. They don't know when to be a clown and when to be serious. Stop it. Give me something serious. At a grocery store, you're on speaker. Hello to all the American shoppers and to all of you who respect our American laws. God bless you. God bless your family. May you prosper more each day. God bless you all. There you go. That's for the speaker, people that can hear that talk. If you love the United States of America, you would be on my side. And I'm telling you, if you voted for Trump, it's not a mistake. You didn't make a mistake. You did the right thing. A lot of Democrats voted for President Trump. And I'm going to tell you, if you are not happy with Republicans right now, let me remind you that Democrats, the ones that we have right now, the socialist Democrats, they have been lying to us for decades because it puts money in their pocket. It puts money in their pocket. It's that simple. But you guys got to be smarter than that. Think about it. Who is putting a permanent burden on the cost of living? Is it President Trump? Or is it your local government? Is it the governor? Is it the mayor? Is it Congress? Is it your representatives? You know why? Because they are the ones voting for all these taxes to be raised. They're the ones voting for putting more and more regulations, which don't do anything. I think some regulations are good, but not all of them. Oh, you're marching right now? Well, I can't go. It takes me like 5.5 hours to get to you. Yeah, I would have gone. Yeah, I'd take a couple tanks, I guess. Couple tanks of gas. I would have gone with you. What's that? I sent a Gmail by Charlotte Isberg, deliberately constructed idiocracy. Okay, let me check it out real quick. All right, let me check it out real quick. Let's see. You know what? I had some clips that I wanted to play for you. Here's my list. Oh, here we go. I didn't share this one with you before. Let's just go through some of these clips because I think it's interesting. Excuse me. This one says, Newsom's prison tablet program raises major concerns. What is this? What is this, man? Oh, brother. All right, hold on. YouTube. Hold on, man. Oh, boy. Let's see. Is it this one? Yeah, there we go.
Okay, flying through Wednesday. I'm Sandra Smith.
Now, you may have seen this already, but I didn't get to see it, so we're going to play it tonight, okay? Here we go.
Has been.
It's been a long week for you so far.
You too, John. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. So we are waiting to hear from Vice President Vance any moment now. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that he has issued a new ultimatum to states addressing fraud or lose federal Medicaid funding. And Reuters is reporting the White House has stopped granting Medicare enrollments for new home health care and hospice providers.
All right, let's bring in Chris Rufo, Manhattan Institute senior fellow. What we really wanted to talk to you about here is what's going on in California. And this is that Governor Gavin Newsom just awarded a $189 million contract to provide new digital tablets to every inmate in the California prison system.
You can't make this up, man. Did you hear that? SoCal, did you know about that? Did you hear what they're doing? You guys know that here in Washington State, they allocated $600 million for laser hair removals for trans in prisons and breast implants as trans healthcare. This is how smart these socialist Democrats that go into office are. And if I heard this right, they just said they're going to buy. Let me go back to hear the amount. But they're going to buy tablets for prisoners so that they can have. Unbelievable.
Talk to you about here is what's going on in California. And this is that Governor Gavin Newsom just awarded a $189 million contract to provide
$189 million
new digital tablets to every inmate in the California prison system.
For inmates. Imagine the need. Imagine the state with the greatest poverty level spending $189 million for tablets for our children. Oh, not for our children, for inmates, for prisoners. What do you think about that, SoCal? Have you heard about it?
At no cost. And many of them, apparently, are not watching what the California government wants them to watch, which would be educational things, because you got this new article in the City Journal, watching porn on California's death row. Under Gavin Newsom, state prisoners are turning taxpayer-funded tablets into personal sex machines. What is going on?
That's the question that many people are asking, John. And what's happening is this. Gavin Newsom, despite warnings from prison officials, agreed to a $189 million contract to provide these tablets for all inmates. And we interviewed a dozen death row inmates, rapists, murderers, child molesters, all of the most horrific crimes imaginable. And they told us very straightforwardly, prisoners are using them to watch pornography.
Freaking Robert. Oh, brother, you threw me off, bro. Oh, my God, that is hella funny, bro. SoCal, you got to say something, man.
To have X-rated video chats with people on the outside. And in at least one case, a prisoner was using it to groom and abuse a minor girl on the outside. Thankfully, he's now facing trial. But the big question is this. Why on earth is Gavin Newsom providing personal pornography devices to every inmate in the state of California?
Wow. You know, one particular case that you highlight here in the City Journal, you say this. In the 1980s, a rapist and serial murderer named Robert Morey earned the nickname the Tipster Killer for calling in anonymous tips identifying the locations of the dead bodies he left behind. During this period, he killed a woman by strangling her with a nylon clothesline, strangled and killed another two women, and brutally raped a fourth before he was caught by authorities. Now Maury is living in a state prison facility in Stockton, California, where he has viewed pornography on his taxpayer-funded digital tablet. In an interview, Maury told us inmates can receive nude pictures and watch pornography through their devices. In his case, he claimed to have received a topless photo from a 22-year-old German psychology student who was, quote, hoping that I would share my story with her for her class project. After the student sent the photo, Maury said he flirted with her for a while. Where, Chris, are the checks and balances here?
Well, there.
Hold on, sir. Bro, you can't make this up, man. You cannot make this up. $189 million, Gavin Newsom, so that inmates in jail can whack off. You know, when I started learning English, I wanted to say I was playing by myself. And I used to say I was playing with myself. I learned that there is a big difference between both sayings. And apparently, Gavin Newsom likes the latter and believes that our inmates are very beautiful and very important citizens. Great examples of society, should have private tablets so that they can self-service themselves.
There really are none. And of course, the state claims that these are secure devices, that they monitor the content. But a former high-ranking prison official told us that there's no way for the state of California to monitor 90,000 of these iPads for all of these prisoners and to do so in any rigorous way. And more than one inmate told us the restrictions are easy to evade. They can get pornography sent to them through a number of different means. And someone like Robert Maury, the tipster killer, seemed to have no problem at all soliciting photographs from this German psychology student. And when we logged in to talk to these killers on California's death row, there appeared to be no age verification at all. So someone who had abused kids in the past could actually be chatting with those same kids through these Gavin Newsom-funded iPads.
Unbelievable. Here's what the state of California Corrections told you. When reached for comment, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said the tablets were, quote, tightly controlled education tools that provided inmates with, quote, access to the Bible, education, and re-entry resources that actually reduce crime.
Can you imagine this rapist sitting on the tablet just watching porn? When they get out of jail, I'm sure they're going to be really rehabilitated. I'm sure of that.
You believe them?
Well, I got bad news for those prison officials. These inmates that we talked to are sadly not reading the Bible. They're watching 30-second pornography clips, and they think that the California officials that are running the program are a complete joke. They're not going to stop them. If there's a will, there's a way. That's what they all told us.
I just want to finish here. You don't need to respond to this. Just a greater observation here about what they're doing in California. Under Gavin Newsom, you write, California sought to transform its massive prison system into a Nordic-style rehabilitation program. Newsom has placed a moratorium on all executions, transferred condemned prisoners to facilities across the state, dismantled San Quentin State Prison's death row, and turned the notorious prison into a therapeutic center with art, classrooms, a cafe, and podcast studios. That is the future there in California. Chris, good to catch up with you. Thanks for bringing that to us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
All right, Sandra?
Can you believe that? Tell me that you guys knew that already. Did you guys know about that? Did you guys know about that? I didn't see the clip. I just saw the title, but I haven't got to it. This is from like a couple of days ago, and I'm just now getting to it. Oh, unbelievable. Let me see what the next one is here. And let's see. Back to YouTube. I exit for some reason. And you're a liar. Former CIA officials called Fauci's pardon unacceptable. Let's take a listen. 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
John Kiriakou is a former CIA officer and whistleblower. Does this jive?
Bro, I thought this guy was Jake Tapper for a second. My bad.
With how things are done at the agency? Someone just makes a phone call and everything changes?
Unfortunately, yes. We see this kind of thing all the time. And Jesse, at the heart of this story is that it's always best to tell the truth. The truth always comes out. And I want to comment on the whistleblower, too. This was a very brave thing he did. He put his reputation on the line today. He told the world exactly what the truth was. He'll probably never work in government again because of it. But now we have an idea of what was being done secretly, yet in our name.
Now, listen, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut this off real quick. Okay, just pause it. You guys remember Representative Melissa Harper, I think, or Horton? Do you remember that video of her when she came out and she voted against Democrats? And a couple of days later, she was taken out? The deep state, man. That's a serious problem. And yeah. And we need to keep an eye on all these things, man, that are happening. Hartman or Horton? I know you know which one I'm talking about, right? Melissa. You know, as a matter of fact, I think I might have a picture of her. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see if I have a picture of her. I'll show you guys. Let me see. Man, it was so sad, you know, and the way that she was talking, and I made like a small clip about it. The way she was talking, she was so nervous. She was so afraid. Why? She just voted. She just voted for a bill. Why would she be scared or upset or nervous or? I mean, her voice was shaky and she was crying. Like, I don't understand what was happening, but I know I have a picture of her somewhere. It's crazy that people they didn't talk about her much. It just the legacy media didn't continue talking about it. It just died really quick, and they focus on other things, as if they don't want anybody to know anything about that. Man, how many pictures do I have in here? I try to find a video from her, but I want you to know this. One of the reasons why these people stay quiet and didn't want to speak the truth is because they've been afraid of what the socialist, Democrat, communists actually do to people that betray them. And that, my friends, is how the socialist Democrats really work in our day and age. You know, in Texas, they're going to get rid of an actually decent guy, and they're going to vote in all these stupid Hispanic people that are buying into these drama lies from the socialist Democrats about Republicans. They're going to put in Calorico, a perverted, depravado. This guy is an antichrist. He's preaching an evil gospel. He is over there corrupting the Bible, adding to the scriptures, which is a condemnation to the person. And people in Texas don't tell me that they're going to vote for this clown. Man, I'm telling you. See you later, Don. Thanks for stopping by, brother. It is crazy, but you guys got to keep an eye on this, man, because this kind of stuff, bro, it's not going to go away. And we knew that Fauci was dirty. We knew that he was lying. Why you think that that the digital pen pardoned his future criminalities? He wasn't convicted of anything. But the digital pen, see the scheme that the socialist Democrats have been playing on. Shifty Schiff was going to get a nice position. But President Trump won. We put him in office. So all that went away. But the socialist Democrats, they were already planning on who they were going to put up here, pack the courts, here. They already had everything planned, but they didn't count on you and I to get out there and vote. So now they're trying to find a way to lie about the Republicans. Now, there's some dirty rhinos, I know. And there is some dirty Republicans, but there is a lot more dirty people on the left side. And it's not like they are better. So I really don't care what happens with the socialist Democrats. I want them all out. And then we can deal with the rhinos that we have in office. Logic tells me that we do not want socialist Democrats in office, period. If you don't learn from all the bad things that happen whenever you have a socialist Democrat leading your city or state, I don't know how else you're going to learn. But check out the facts. Right now, they keep lying to you and fear-mongering you and saying gas prices are very high because of Trump. Let me tell you something. Gas prices are higher, yes, because of what's going on over there. But the reason why it gets even higher is because of the tax and the regulation fees that they have on that. The higher the gas price, the more taxes they collect on that. And believe me, cents add up. I see people that are suffering with diesel. Why don't you stop complaining about Trump and say, I want my governor to make an executive order to stop taxing us, just while this thing is going on at the Strait of Hormuz. Go to your government. Go to your representative. Tell them, remove the taxes, at least temporary. If you really care about your constituents, you're going to get rid of all this regulating and all these taxes until this conflict is taken care of.
Fauci got pardoned. So
Yes,
he may
did.
have killed 1 million Americans. We don't know if the exact virus was Frankensteined out that he paid for, but still, I mean, and then he just walks away like nothing happened?
My cousin George Koletsu was the second person in the state of Ohio to die of COVID back in very early 2020. That death still stings all of us in our family. And now I can't help but to look at Dr. Fauci and think, you liar. Look what you've done to our country. And you're right. He was auto-penned right into freedom and wealth and untold riches in his retirements. That is unacceptable.
He was protected, and so was China, which makes it even worse. And this just in, John, the CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Agents hauled out dozens of boxes, files on the JFK assassination and MK Ultra, the CIA mind control operation, which she was in the process of declassifying. Today's whistleblower said it during his deposition, and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna confirmed it moments ago.
The reason why this is troubling is, A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed.
Can the CIA overrule the president?
No, the CIA cannot overrule the president. The CIA cannot even overrule the director of national intelligence. In 1975, the Church Committee, which became the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, specifically ordered DCI William Colby to release all of the MK Ultra files. He famously went back to CIA headquarters and ordered that all of the files be destroyed. 85% of them were destroyed. He was held in contempt of Congress, and then CIA employees lined the halls and contributed cash to pay for the fine that he was ordered to pay. We only know what we know about MK Ultra because of the 15% of the files that weren't destroyed. These are among those 15% of the files. They are mandated to be declassified. The American people have a right to know what is in these files, and the CIA can't raid offices, least of all the offices of the Director of National Intelligence. It's just, real life isn't supposed to work this way. This is crazy.
This is something out of a movie, but the CIA was experimenting with LSD on willing and unwilling participants during the Cold War for intelligence operations and to exploit people, and it didn't go well a lot of the time. And they threw it all in a wastebasket, right? Like, it never really worked. Is that why they don't want anybody to know about it?
I think they don't want people to know any more than what we know about, for example, dosing innocent citizens of San Francisco, California, or a small village in France and putting LSD in the yeast at the only bakery in the village just to see if everybody in the village would go nuts, which they did, of course, or coming up with a program in San Francisco to hire prostitutes to dose Johns and see if they would cough up their innermost secrets. Ridiculous.
Wow. Well, you just have to hire Swalwell. He'll do pretty much anything. John, I hope we get to the bottom of this soon. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, we got 2 down. You liar. Yeah, 2 down. I want to get to these clips quick. Let's see. Can't remember what this one is, but we will find out right away. Okay, so this is Lindsey Graham has a message for China's allies. Let's take a listen.
Thinking about happy children when I think about China. This is going to be judged by me, if China still buys 90% of Iranian oil. They still are the #1 purchaser of Russian oil and gas. When this summit is over and we do nothing about it, we'll made a big mistake. So he's sitting across. President Trump is trying to be charming, and he's a very effective man. China's put on a hell of a show. But I'm going to judge a summit by what China does. Xi could pick up the phone and end the Russia-Ukraine war. He could pick up the phone and end the Iran conflict if he chose to. Without China buying Iran oil, they would be out of business. The #1 purchaser of Russian oil and gas, propping up Putin, is China. And my message to President Trump is that we have your back. And if China continues to do this, well, without paying a price for disrupting the world, then we will have made a huge mistake. I've got legislation that will allow President Trump to put tariffs on China for buying Russian oil and gas, and I'll do the same thing for Iran down the road. The only thing China respects is strength. So when this is over, if they're still doing the same damn thing with Iran and Russia, and we don't punish China, we've made a mistake.
Let's talk a little bit about what would their alternative be, Senator? In other words, I think maybe it's an opportunity we really haven't spent a lot of time talking about. Sure. You're right. About 90% of the oil they get from Iran. They want those Strait of Hormuz open. It was pretty fascinating when a Chinese tanker was hit in the Strait of Hormuz. That was shocking. Maybe the one remaining ally and friend that the Iranians have at this time. And clearly there is this unholy alliance. You have Vladimir Putin, you have Russia, you have Iran, you have North Korea that have been in an alliance. The reports, it will not be ignored by President Trump. I'm sure it will come up that the Chinese have been assisting the Iranians in this conflict. But I guess, is that a prerequisite to doing other business deals in your mind?
No, I think you got to do 2 things at once. You try to build up the economic relationship, because over time that can change things. When you do business with people, you tend to look at them differently over time. But here's the problem. You name the allies of China, they're all dirtbags. They're aligned with the worst people in the world. They're buying oil cheaply from Iran, keeping their war machine going. Same thing with Russia. If China stopped buying Iranian oil or threatened to do it, the war in Iran would be over. All I'm asking China to do is help us open up the Strait of Hormuz, help us stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, because I think they would use it, help us end the bloodbath in Russia, Ukraine, that is hurting the world economy. If you help us, I will be very grateful. If you don't help us, and you continue to prop up these regimes, I will do business with you on Monday and put tariffs on you on Tuesday. And the only thing China understands is what I just said. Xi is not a crazy man. He's not irrational. If he believed President Trump would crush his economy, the Chinese economy, for propping up Putin and Iran, I think he would change his behavior. You don't need to threaten him directly, but you need to make it real to him.
Senator, we have a printout of what President Xi was saying to President Trump. It was not interpreted in real time. This is what he said. He said, "I have always believed that the common interests between China and the U.S. outweigh the differences." He said that success of China and the U.S. is an opportunity for each other. He said stability of China-U.S. relations is a good thing for the world. Yeah. He said he's looking forward to exchanging views with President Trump on major issues. And he said, let 2026 be a historic and landmark year for China-U.S. relations to carry on the past and open up the future. Now, would one alternative be, I mean, we are a net exporter of energy.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
Everything's possible.
That we export to them?
They're an export country. They don't have, there are 1.4 billion Chinese who live, a lot of them live in poverty. There's no Social Security, there's no Medicare. Our worst day is China's best day. They put on a hell of a show, but their economy is struggling. Inner China, coastal economy is strong. The inner part of China lives hand to mouth. I wouldn't trade places with them for all the tea in China. The bottom line here is I want a good relationship with China, but if President Trump doesn't make it clear to President Xi that your bad actions regarding Iran and Russia, fueling terrorism and a never-ending conflict, they need to change. And if they change, you'll be rewarded. No. If they don't, you'll be punished. If we don't communicate that, then I think we'll have failed, quite frankly, to achieve the goal of this summit for me, which is to get China to be more normal.
Look, I think you hit it at the very beginning. You're dealing with the man that is the author of The Art of the Deal. And one thing President Trump said to me on the flight over here is said, everything is on the table. You name it, it'll be brought up in the course of this trip here. Senator, we do appreciate you being with us. Thank you for your patience. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast.
Wait a minute. Aztec, you haven't been here for a while? Man, I didn't notice. All the negativity, I guess it's just still fresh in the brain. Insane in the brain. All right, Mamdani's efforts to reach billionaire Ken Griffin met with a silence. Let's take a listen to NBC.
Donnie and Citadel CEO Ken Griffin continues tonight after the mayor's social media video that singled out Griffin when promoting a proposal for a pied-à-terre tax. And now President Trump has entered the mix.
News 4's Melissa Russo is in the newsroom with how the president is weighing in and how the mayor is trying to smooth things over. Melissa.
Gilman, Adam, that video and its backlash rattled the city's business community after the infuriated CEO, Ken Griffin, threatened to grow jobs in Florida instead of here in New York. This week, that backlash continued with a lecture from President Donald Trump and, according to sources, efforts by Mayor Mamdani to reach Griffin falling flat.
Well, today, we're taxing the rich.
Almost 1 month after Mayor Zohran Mamdani posted this video singling out Citadel CEO Ken Griffin's pricey penthouse to promote a new pied-à-terre tax.
Like for this penthouse.
The mayor has tried to open a conversation with Griffin, according to several sources in the business community familiar with efforts to reach Griffin through an intermediary. But the sources say Griffin was in no mood to speak to the mayor and may be holding out for a public apology. Soon after the mayor posted that video, Griffin said it had put him in harm's way, was in poor taste, and would cost the city jobs.
We will add far more jobs in Miami over the next decade as an immediate and direct consequence of the mayor's poor decision here.
When you lose people like that, it's sort of not recoverable.
President Trump on WABC radio yesterday was the latest to warn Mamdani
you've got to cherish them
about alienating the people who already pay the highest taxes.
You got to meet them, you have to have dinner with them, you have to convince them not to leave.
In recent weeks, the socialist mayor has softened his public tone toward Griffin and the business community.
I would be happy to speak with Mr. Griffin.
The mayor said the other day that he would be happy to speak to Ken Griffin. Do you have any idea? But he hadn't yet. Do you have any idea if that's happened?
No, I saw Ken Griffin yesterday, and no, that hasn't happened.
On Friday, I interviewed Stephen Fulop, who represents the CEOs of the city's largest employers at the Partnership for New York City.
It hasn't happened. And look, if you're Ken Griffin, right, and you were singled out and vilified as if you've done something wrong, and the reality is that you donate hundreds of millions of dollars to philanthropy, let alone paying billions of dollars in taxes, and somebody wants to have a private conversation without a public apology or public recognition that that was a mistake, you probably wouldn't want to have that conversation either.
The mayor's office would not confirm or deny efforts on behalf of the mayor to reach Griffin. A Griffin spokesman said the mayor had not directly called Griffin, but would not confirm whether any efforts had been made through an intermediary. He did not directly respond to our question about whether Griffin was awaiting an apology. In a statement, he said Ken cares deeply about New York City and welcomes thoughtful, serious conversations about the policies that can grow the city's economy and create more opportunity for all New Yorkers. Reckless political theater serves no purpose and undermines the future of one of the world's most important cities. The mayor was asked a week ago if he had spoken to Griffin.
No.
He has not publicly apologized, but he has tried to explain why he pointed to Griffin in that video.
That home, when it was purchased, was the most expensive home in the United States of America. We wanted to make very clear that this applies to a very select group of properties. This piece of legislation is not motivated by any one individual. And so the next day I spoke about a Saudi prince who bought an apartment for $90 million.
Nobody heard that about the Saudi prince. And by the way, if you're talking about the rich people, there's no need to go and tell the world, hey, this is where this guy lives. How about you tell us where you live, Mandani? Not the governor's, not the mayor's house, your house and your family's house. And let's find out where all your friends live so that we can go do something to them. That is the message that you're giving. And I will never do that. That's just not the way to do business. And you listen, the art of the deal, what President Trump is doing, I agree. You know, people say, you know, they come into my channel and they're like, oh, Dennis, you're a brown noser. Oh, you're just kissing Trump's ass. Let me tell you something. If I was governor here in Washington State, I will kiss as much ass as I need to kiss to make sure that my Washingtonians are taken care of. I want funds for all my people, and I want to make sure that everybody's treated the right way. I'm not going to push billionaires and rich people. No, hey, can I get a dinner with you? Can I have a talk with you? Can we negotiate? Can we do this? You gotta treat them with respect. You gotta make them feel that they want it, that they matter, that they're making a huge difference for your state and your city, and that the city depends on them. And man, we're so thankful. Hey, thank you so much. You know what? You provide 100,000 jobs over here. We love you. I want to give thanks to the billionaire so and so and so because we have this many jobs and we have just gotten a raise. This is how many taxes have been collected by the rich people. Check this out. Hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes this month alone, Washington State, from the rich people. And from you guys, the rest of the people that are working, this little bit of taxes. So, man, can you imagine? We are so grateful to have these rich people here. And I'm going to tell you, I will also make sure that I let them know I need more from you. You got to be able to do it. You got to be able to do it. I believe it. And I think that President Trump, that is exactly how I think. That is exactly how I think. Again, I don't trust anybody. Just like Trump says, I don't trust anybody. But that doesn't mean that we cannot make a deal. And what it means is that if you renege on that deal, there's going to be some consequences and repercussions. That's all I'm saying.
And just this afternoon, Mayor Mamdani met with the CEO of Blackstone as he continues to try to build relationships within the city's business community. Mamdani's spokeswoman telling me today the mayor wants all New Yorkers to succeed. She says that includes Ken Griffin, who is a major employer in our city and a powerful figure in our economy. The mayor has said that that does not negate the fact that our tax system, in his view, is fundamentally broken, rewarding extreme wealth, while working people are pushed to the brink. Gilma?
Oh, my socialist Democrats. They just never learn. I think there's a clip here that I wanted to share with you, and I finally get to share it. Let me grab this real quick. Let me see if I can find it here. All right, let's see. Now, this is 5 years ago. This is Governor Inslee, which was also a piece of shit governor here in Washington State. But nonetheless, I want to share this clip, and I want you to listen to what he is doing. Okay, this is how we've been able to have businesses move here to Washington State. Take a listen.
Through major tax breaks, the state of Washington has done plenty to make Boeing happy here and to attract and retain projects. But could another sweet deal be in the works? South Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson is live at the state capitol. So, Drew, can the state do anything at this point to keep the Dreamliner production here?
Well, Mark, it does not sound like the state can or will do anything. Not a lot of optimism, not a lot of positive or kind words coming out of the governor's office today. Governor Jay Inslee said that Boeing would be, quote, turning its back on the state if this happened after a long history of support from state lawmakers.
The 787 will be built right here in Puget Sound.
Washington state tax breaks in 2003 helped bring the then 7E7 production to Everett. Some say that's what the E stood for.
So with this, I'm signing 2088.
And then 10 years later, those tax breaks were extended to sweeten the pot again for Boeing to build its 777X in Washington. But despite saving
That was 2013 and then 2023, I think.
billions, Boeing executives, citing union strikes in Washington, moved some Dreamliner assembly to South Carolina in 2009. And now the Wall Street Journal reports all of the work currently being done in Everett could move to South Carolina.
Now, do you see why I talk the way that I talk? It's not bullshit. It's not something that is just happening right now that might or might not. No. There is history. There is history. Now, let me give you something that you don't know. Here in Washington State, they have, just like in your state, they have these hearings. Okay, when the new governor took office, okay, the new representatives in the House, they were meeting, and the economy was brought up, and the Republicans were arguing that if we raise taxes, if we do this against Boeing, okay, that they're going to want to take off to somewhere else, and we've seen that happen, okay. So the governor back then, even though he's a Democrat, he wasn't a socialist Democrat. Borderline, okay? He's the different kind of Democrat. He was still garbage. That's too harsh. F.J. Inslee is what Washingtonians were saying. But anyways, so what the representatives on the socialist Democratic side said was this. Boeing has been saying for years that they're going to leave, and they never leave. But they leave one little thing out. And I just showed you from 2013. He signed a bill to hook Boeing up so that they keep those thousands of jobs here in Washington State. 10 years. And then he renewed it to make sure that those planes stay here and those jobs stay here in Everett. And now you got the socialist Democrats that say this. Well, they've been saying that, but you know what? They always come back. They don't know that there had to be a tax break. There had to be an incentive for these businesses to stay here in Washington and give us jobs. The socialist Democrats don't think. New York City, we told you guys. We told you, don't vote for the socialist Democrats. that crazy witch over there, wasting your taxpayer dollars in New York. We told you about Mamdani. Don't vote him in. He's a communist. He's a Muslim communist. They're probably the worst combinations that you can have in one evil person. You still vote him in. Free buses. Woo! Oh, by the way, they raised the price of the fare for buses. There is no free buses. The groceries, there is no grocery stores opening under Mamdani. Conveniently enough, the date to open one is when he leaves office. Isn't that convenient? But you people don't listen. If you are on my side, your neighbors are not listening. They need to know the truth. I'm telling you, vote Republican in the midterms. I'm giving you the facts with proof that the socialist Democrats are destroying our economy. Here is a Democrat signing a bill, knows what's at stake. He signed other really bad bills. That's why we don't like him. And he doesn't even live here. He lives in another state. You know why? Because this state sucks for people like him that have money. Let me tell you something. Yeah, they will not get it until they feel it. Absolutely. This governor that you see up there, that governor does not live in Washington State. And you see, he was in office for 12 years. 3 terms. 3 terms as governor. I believe that's right. 3 terms. And on the last term that he made, he stopped counting votes when they reach more than half of the registered voters. By the way, thousands of them were already dead. They found a few illegals voted. No red flags. No big deal. It's not a problem. Carry on. What do I know?
In a statement, Governor Jay Inslee said, quote, Boeing would be turning its back on the finest workers in the best place in the world to build airplanes. He went on to note the state's repeated support, adding, quote, if this report is true, it would force a review of that partnership, including a hard look at the company's favorable tax treatment. Can the state do anything?
No. Don't get me wrong. We're going to win the midterms. What I'm saying is, I don't want you to be that person that votes for Democrats. I don't want you to be that jackass. And number one, I feel like you don't deserve shit if that's the way you vote. So I'm giving you something so that you can forgive yourself for the stupidity of voting for Democrats. That's what I'm saying. By the way, we just gained seats because you losers on the Democratic side were cheating. Well. We have benefited from your stupidity. Now, won't you benefit from our wisdom? Vote Republican in the midterms. And let's get J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio in the next presidential candidacy.
To keep Boeing from moving the Dreamliner to South Carolina?
We all know that this is just an unbelievably difficult time for aviation. This is a response to a global pandemic that is of biblical proportions.
State Senator Reuben Carlisle worked on the 2013 tax break extension. He says the potential move would be devastating to the state, and the state needs to continue to work with Boeing to protect other projects that play a large role in the state's economy. Carlisle views the move to South Carolina as a business decision and not a ploy to get a new tax break from the state.
This is not about some tax bill or incentive package. This is about a responsible long-term commitment to the workforce, a long-term commitment to the company and the relationship with Washington State. And I think it will weather this
right there. Watch this.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown. And if, the ones that leave, like, bye.
Hey, and the millionaires, the big companies like Boeing, if they want to leave, well, bye. That is the retards. That is the retards that you are voting in. As I said, don't vote for Democrats on the midterms. This is so that you guys look smart. Again,
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like bye.
Stupidity of the people that you put in office. You see what I'm saying? Now pay attention to what they said here.
Bill or incentive package. This is about a responsible long-term commitment to the workforce, a long-term commitment to the company and the relationship with Washington State. And I think it will weather this extraordinarily difficult time.
I also spoke with the Republican candidate for governor, Lauren Culp. He said this would be, quote, bad news if it happens. And he says this is definitely a direct result of the governor's tax policies and regulations. He says he considers this an unfriendly state towards business under an Inslee administration.
You hear that? An unfriendly state. But the socialist Democrats that we have today, they said if they want to leave, bye. That's you. If you voted for Democrats today, that's you. You're responsible for that stupidity of mayors and governors that we have in office right now. It has nothing to do with me being Republican. I want you to know that. I've supported Democrats more than I supported Republicans. So it's not about a party. It's about what's better for our country. In my case, for my state. That's right. And they are fantastic. What's wrong with them? What have they done that you think is stupidity? They have done a hell of a better job than your previous administration. So shut the hell up, Aztec. Yeah, Kristi Noem, I'm not going to defend her. You're right about that.
Live in Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Drew, thank you. So Washington lawmakers are weighing in on Boeing's potential move. They don't like it. Senator Maria Cantwell tweeted this: Puget Sound has 100 years of aviation manufacturing history. Its workers' skill set, experience, and capabilities should not be undervalued by anyone, especially the Boeing company. Congressman Rick Larson tweeting this: Boeing's decision to pull its 787 production out of Washington state is short-sighted and misplaced. As the economy comes back and air travel returns, I will fight to bring 787 production back to Everett.
There you go. And that's the news. That is the news. What I find interesting, okay, so you think that that Kash Patel is doing a bad job? Bro, you go do the job and see how you like it. Go ask Dan Bongino. Go ask him how long he lasted. That job is not easy. You guys think it's just a matter of saying, oh, yeah, you know what, do this. And no, man, there's a lot of shit that you got to do. Kristi Noem did a good job. The problem with Kristi Noem is she didn't take care of the budget. But I think she did a tremendous job. But I'm not going to defend her because, listen, you could have made a lot of facilities with less money, and she overspent. It's that simple. It is that simple. So I'm not going to go ahead and defend her on that. That she needs to be criticized for that. That's okay. Okay, Junior, you want me to keep naming stupidity? Aztec, you're about to get hidden from my channel forever. I can't stand stupidity. Like, I'm trying not to use the F word, but you're a freaking moron. Are you kidding me? We have lowered the prices on drugs. We have told people that they're not to be forced to take a vaccine, that it should be a choice for the people. All you retards on the left don't want to listen. Pay attention to what the hell is being said. You guys read headlines and you go with the headlines. But you don't freaking listen 6 hours of hearing so that you can understand. I'm listening to these hearings. You don't. You don't. I heard Robert Jr. I heard that he called him out and all the money that these corrupted politicians are getting from pharma. Don't be stupid, man. Don't be stupid. Don't come to my channel and be stupid. I do my homework. No, you're being an asshole. Calling over here stupidity that I'm defending? You think that's nice? I don't give a shit what you think. If you want to complain about gas prices, go talk to the governor. Go talk to your mayor. Bitch about it. You know, you are the same libtards that bitch and complain about having voter ID. Oh my God, we can't go to the voting booth. But yet you are able to go and protest the shit out of it. How does that work? You can go and protest saying that voter ID is racist and you can't go vote. But your ass is over there protesting. Make that make sense. I can't take retarded people like that. If you are mentally disabled for a discount, okay, I get it. But retardation from people that act like they're straight, can't stand that shit. That's really like beyond stupidity. Nothing to do with the First Amendment rights, moron. You know what? I don't even want to hear you anymore. Have a good night, man. Guys, what frustrates me is here we are, and we have examples of what's working. If you're going to argue with me, you better argue with me with facts. Don't come over here and tell me, oh, the Trump administration is failing. Okay, show me where. Because so far, I think they're doing a tremendous job. You people on the Socialist Democrat side, you have to understand, they want 100% accuracy from this president. Nobody can do that. Fuck's sakes, man. Let me tell you something. My kids want this and they want that. But you know what I do? This is what I can do. I cannot do that. And that's all they get from me. President Trump cannot go play peace in the world, cannot go over there and stop drugs coming in here. President Trump cannot dictate everything that you people keep fighting against. Healthcare, voted out. Immigration reform, voted out. You morons keep blocking him from doing his job. You want healthcare for your American people, but you're supporting over 20 million illegal immigrants getting healthcare. How the hell do you want to do that? You can't have your cake and eat it too. No, you're not going to convince me. You're not going to convince me. I think this administration is kicking ass. You know how many times President Biden was holding a press conference? And I'm talking about actually holding it, not just coming into little quick 2-minute conferences. President Trump has proven over and over and over. That man, I'm intimidated if I can do his job. I can't keep up with that man. Are you kidding me? The change of time from here to China, from China to here, back and forth. And then you want him to assimilate to the new time, and you want him to work on this and work on that. You selfish sons of bitches. You selfish mofos. You don't ask yourself, man, how can I help? What can I do? You guys don't ask that. You guys just give me. How about you give something in return? How about you support the president? How about you support the administration? How about you stop allowing illegal immigrants to run rampant free in this country? How about you stand for the United States of America? How about that, Gary Salinas? I know you're illegal, so get the hell out of my chat. I don't care what you illegal immigrants say. I don't care about any of you guys that want to break the law. I don't give a shit. You can say nothing to me. Nothing. I am a migrant. The difference is I've never been illegal in this country and you don't like it. Well, I don't give a shit. I'm an American citizen from a third world country. Became an American citizen. And why am I the only one fighting for this damn country? And you sons of bitches that were born here don't give a damn. How does that work? What's the problem here? Why does it not make you mad that this country is being torn apart from within? Nothing that I say is for my benefit. It's for the benefit of the United States of America. Cash is kicking ass. There's going to be a lot of people going to jail. It takes time. We're not going to pretend that this can be done in 1 year, 2 years. Please. It doesn't work like that. But I want this country to continue being the greatest country, and I will not allow 22 million illegal sons of bitches in this country to stop us from speaking the truth because you want to be conflicted with your emotions. Emotions is what makes us humans, yes. But that's not how I make a decision. Common sense. It's not so common anymore. We know this. If you're American, you're on my side. You should be on my side. You know, the male's mind doesn't truly get fully developed until you're 27 years old. It seems like a lot of you never got to that point. Your brain was never completed. And that's why you can't make sense of the truth. You can have emotions. It's what makes us humans. Don't be a retard, okay? Don't be a retard. You're trying to insult me, you're insulting yourself. Yeah, 20 years. The Monroe Doctrine. Oh, my God. You know, I was having a good lunch today with Don Mitch today. And I told him that every migrant that comes to this country because of the safety, because of the immigration laws, has forced people to earn their entry into this country. The government, it's supposed to be protecting the growth of the population so that the economy can support it. But you guys continue to protect a massive illegal immigration that no nation can really contain. And here's the problem. Here's the biggest problem. You people on the left continue to bitch and complain, and you keep voting these dumbass people in office, these socialist Democrats, and you are the first ones to complain. But you don't realize that you are the problem. That's why millions of Democrats voted for Trump on this last time. He won the popular vote. He won everything. It was a mandate by the American people. And they are turning you against each other. You know why I don't believe that I'm turning against American people? Because I'm fighting for American people. All the people on the left are fighting for illegal immigrants. And I'm fighting for America. American citizens. If you don't appreciate that, you might as well just get the hell out of this country. If you have white guilt, well, get the hell out of this country. We don't need the baggage that you bring. Losers like you belong with the losing side. And we are winners. And we don't get tired of winning. And that is the truth. I don't know if I want to open up the lines because I don't know if I want to be upset for free. We're just not going to do that. I think that we're just not going to do that. How many of you think that I should open the phone line? How many of you think that I should open the phone line? Let me catch this interview with Marco Rubio here because I haven't listened to it.
Mr. Secretary, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I do want to start by asking you, are you surprised that you're even here in China? As a U.S. Senator, you know you were sanctioned by China because of what you said, talking about China's record when it came to human rights abuses. You have never shied away from that. Yeah. Do you still feel the same way now that you're in this country?
I mean, the difference is my job now is no longer just to be a senator. My job is a different job. I'm the chief diplomat of the country, and I execute on the president's foreign policy. The second thing I would say is...
By the way, thank you, Patriots, for having my back. I appreciate you being here. And that I hope that I can make you guys proud by continuing to tell the truth. I don't care how many morons come in here and try to destroy us. We're going to continue to fight for America to be great again. And my priority is Americans first, period. And that means local fight for the American people in also international fight for the American people. If we go to a country for oil, that's our benefit. If we go to a country to liberate people and we get oil and rare earth minerals and something out of that, then that's for America first as well. We are not Israel's puppet. Let's get that straight. All these anti-Semitic people that have been giving you that lie, ignore those people. Israel is our ally and our friend, and we are not going to allow these demons to have us turn our backs on our best friend. Let that be clear.
Perspective of that, even in my time in the Senate, I would always acknowledge that the United States and China have to have a relationship. It's the two largest economies in the world, probably the two most powerful militaries in the world. And I think it's irresponsible for us not to have direct dialogue with them. In areas where we can find mutual cooperation, I think there's probably virtually no problem in the world that we can't solve if we work together on. But with two big, powerful countries like this, there's always going to be irritants. There's always going to be areas of disagreement. And it's our job, for the sake of our respective countries, but ultimately for the world, for the sake of the world, to try to manage those areas of difference. They've got red lines and things they never want to talk about, but we have them as well. And our job is to do and promote the policies that are in the best interest of the United States.
So for our viewers at home, there's so much going on in the world, and the world is watching what's happening here. What's the main takeaway you can tell our viewers at home? What was negotiated? What's been decided? How is it going to change their lives back in America?
Well, first and foremost, part of the problem we face in the United States for a long time is we've allowed our nation to be deindustrialized. If you think about factories, manufacturing, all kinds of key industries that have left the country, lithium batteries, that's something America invented, and China now dominates that market. So I always said it, and I always said it when I was in the Senate. China's doing what I would do if I were Chinese and I were a Chinese leader. They are trying to dominate the world in all these key industries of the future. We may not like it, but that's what they're going to do because they're acting in their best interest. We have to act in our best interest. I'm the Secretary of State of the United States, and before that, as you pointed out, a senator for the United States. I work for the President of the United States. Our job is to promote the interest of our country and to bring back as many of those industries as possible. So the areas we're always going to be talking to them about is unfair competition, their control of critical supply chains. There's so many critical supply chains that we are reliant on, but not just us, the world, overly reliant. So I think what you'll see as a result, two things I think are resulting today. There is some agreement. They're going to buy more of certain things, which is important, like American airplanes, American jet engines. But I think the other thing that's important for us is to keep up the work of reindustrializing America, bringing back to the United States those industries that are key to us. The Chinese aren't going to like it because they want to dominate those industries, but that's what's good for the American people. The second point is just that engagement between the presidents of the respective countries is critically important because they were able to talk about the Straits of Hormuz. We were able to talk about North Korea. We were able to talk about all these other parts of the world where China plays a role as well.
So just to nail down some specifics here, we're talking about the purchasing of airplanes, Boeing airplanes, and then also there's been some reports about beef as well. Is there anything you can shed light on that?
Well, I think the details will be announced later today. I don't want to get ahead of the actual announcement by the trade representative, but there's going to be some agricultural purchases which are important, and they're important for our growers, and China needs those things. We hope in the future to expand it to energy purchase. The United States is a net supplier of energy now to the world. We're one of the world's, if not the world's largest energy supplier at this point. Obviously, when it comes to the airplanes and the engines, those are American factories and American workers that are making that. And so anytime you can gain access to a market as large as this one, that's a very positive thing. But there's a lot of work yet to be done.
The CEO of NVIDIA is here with you guys. He traveled with the president on Air Force One. Were AI chips discussed at all?
In the context of the president's conversation with President Xi, no, we didn't get into the level of specificity. We know what that is. I mean, at the end of the day, the United States remains a dominant player in the space of AI and in the space of semiconductors and chips. That said, the Chinese are investing billions and billions of dollars in their own industry. So that's going to be an area of competition.
Do you think AI chips should be sold to China?
Well, I think as you've seen, the president's announced that certain chips can be sold. Obviously, it's up to the Chinese to accept it. But I think we always have to establish our area of dominance. In essence, the cutting edge, the things that give us an advantage, it would be dumb and stupid for us to sell that to anybody, especially a country that's going to reverse engineer it and leapfrog us. So I think that's understood. Maturely speaking, there are things the United States still has dominant position in, and from our national security perspective, we should keep that dominance. We want to keep that dominance. The Chinese are going to do their best to catch us and even surpass us. We shouldn't make it easy for them, the way we kind of did for 20 years when we sort of had a different view of this relationship.
Yeah. I want to read you something. Your counterpart, the foreign minister, has put out a statement, which you may have seen, you may haven't seen. I want to make sure you hear about it. He says, quote, Taiwan independence and cross-strait peace are as irreconcilable as fire and water. Safeguarding peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait is the biggest common denominator between China and the U.S. And again, the context of all this is that President Xi stressed to President Trump that the Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-U.S. relations. Talk to me about that moment when that was discussed.
Well, they certainly feel that way, and they always raise that issue, and we understand they raise that issue. From our perspective, any forced change in the status quo and the situation that's there now would be bad for both countries. One of the things the Chinese emphasize, which we agree, is strategic stability in our relationship, a constructive relationship, but also one that establishes strategic stability so that we don't have misunderstandings that could lead to broader conflict. And so we always reiterate the point. We hear them when they say this. We always respond by saying anything that would compel or force a change in what we have now would be problematic. And we would certainly, our policies on that have not changed. It's been pretty consistent across multiple presidential administrations and remains consistent now.
Did President Xi request to President Trump not to sell weapons to Taiwan?
Well, that topic has been discussed in the past. It did not feature prominently in today's discussion. We know what their position on that is already. Remember, Congress plays a role in that process as well. And we have sold them weapons in the past. That's existed as recently as December, which they were very upset about. And that's a decision the president gets to make as Congress appropriates and as Congress decides what to do with those topics. We will respond accordingly.
But nothing has changed in the way the U.S. views the relationship with Taiwan. It will defend Taiwan, as has been.
Yeah, U.S. policy on the issue of Taiwan is unchanged as of today and as of the meeting that we had here today. It was raised. They always raise it on their side. We always make clear our position, and we move on to the other topics. We know where they stand, and I think they know where we stand.
Do you think China wants to invade Taiwan?
Well, I think China's preference is probably to have Taiwan willingly, voluntarily join them. In a perfect world, what they would want is some vote or a referendum in Taiwan that agrees to fold in. I think that's what they would prefer. Ultimately, it's featured prominently in President Xi's mandate in the time he's been in office. He's made clear that what they call reunification, that's what they call it, is something that has to happen at some point. We think it would be a terrible mistake to force that through force or anything of that nature. There would be repercussions for that globally, not just from the United States. And we kind of leave it there. That sort of ambiguity is what I think has defined the way we characterize this issue. And the reason being strategic ambiguities. We don't want to see conflict. We don't want to see something disruptive happen because I think it would be very disruptive for the world and for both countries.
I know you're watching China. You don't think they're ramping up their military to do something in Taiwan?
Well, I think they're ramping up their military in general. The pace of growth in the Chinese military over the last 10 years has no precedent. None. I mean, just what they've done with their Navy alone over the last, they've put billions and billions and billions of dollars in their system. So it's, you look at it, I mean, it's hard to ignore how fast and how big. So I don't think it's just limited to Taiwan. I think they have ambitions to ultimately be able to project power globally the way the U.S. does now. They're still behind us in that regard. But nonetheless, they are investing a lot of money. They are right now the world's second most powerful military, without a doubt.
Let's talk about Iran. Did President Trump raise the issue of Iran with China?
He did, and it was important because the Chinese side said they are not in favor of militarizing the Straits of Hormuz, and they're not in favor of a tolling system. And that's our position. We will never support an Iranian tolling system in the Straits of Hormuz, nor do we think they have a right to put mines in international waters. And so it's good that we have alliance, or at least agreement on that point. I think the fundamental question is, what are we going to do about it? We have a resolution now before the United Nations in which 100 and something countries have co-signed. The Bahrainis are the sponsor, but we're strongly behind it and been pushing very hard on it. And it very clearly makes those points. So we hope the Chinese will vote for it. So right now we haven't gotten their commitment to vote for it yet at the United Nations. Maybe that'll change after today's meeting. I don't know.
Can you help me understand what exactly did President Trump ask President Xi for when it comes to Iran?
He didn't ask him for anything. I mean, we're not asking for China's help. We don't need their help.
But he raises the issue.
We raise the issue to make clear what our position is and to make it clear so they understand. Because, I mean, it's logical we would talk about it given how dominant that issue is. Our position is very clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And that's what they were on the verge of building a conventional capability where they had so many rockets, so many drones, that you couldn't do anything against them. They would hide behind that conventional shield to do whatever they wanted with their nuclear program in the future. That's why the president chose to act. In response to that, Iran has decided that they're going to take an international waterway and turn it into theirs and charge tolls for it. We're not going to allow that to happen, and that's why there's a blockade. It's a direct result of what they've done. So if everyone's ships can't get out, Iran's ships can't get out. They can't be the only one that benefit from it. And I think on the issue of tolling and on militarizing, In essence, what Iran is doing, the Chinese side today was very clear that they oppose that.
They oppose exactly what?
They oppose what Iran is doing. I mean, they oppose the militarization of the Straits, which an international waterway, and they oppose charging a toll, which is what Iran is claiming to try to set up. They want to set up a system where ships have to pay Iran to use an international waterway. And now they got to do something about it. They should vote for our resolution at the UN.
Does China agree with the United States that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon?
And what they've said is that Iran is signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and so therefore they should not have a nuclear weapon. And they reiterated that point again today. Maybe not as forcefully as I'm making it, but they've certainly reiterated that in the past. Today it wasn't the first time.
So the U.S. and China came to common ground with the fact that they both don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I just want to make sure we're clear on this.
But let me be clear on this. Yeah. I don't know if there's a country on the planet, I don't know about North Korea, but I don't know if there's a country on the planet that is in favor of this regime and Iran having nuclear weapons. I don't know of any. I think the difference is we actually are trying to do something about it. Other countries are against it, but they're not willing to do anything about it. So I think the Chinese simply reiterated what has been their position in the past, which is that they don't want to see them have a nuclear weapon. The Russians would say the same thing. Right. Certainly all of their Gulf neighbors would say the same thing as well. I think the difference, of course, is we're actually trying to do something about it.
You know, for our viewers back home in America, every day Americans are spending more and more, and they're saving less and less. How do you explain to them, why is this taking so long in Iran?
Well, first of all, I would say, obviously, it may seem like a long time from the perspective of other conflicts that we've seen in the past. It's only been weeks, not months, and certainly not years.
But longer than the president has told the American people, to be
fair. Well, we achieved the missions of Epic Fury. We destroyed there is no Iranian Navy. There is no Iranian Navy. They have small little speedboats with a machine gun on it, but that's not a Navy. They're actual Navy, and they had a Navy. They had a Navy that had carriers on them, not aircraft carriers traditionally, but the ones that could launch drones from. Those things are completely gone.
I understand, but the Strait is closed. There's still uranium.
Well, the Straits are closed is their reaction to the aftermath of Epic Fury. They decided they're going to take the world hostage. And my point is, what they're doing now with the Straits, they would have done once they acquired a nuclear weapon, or once they built their conventional capabilities where they could hide behind to a certain level. Understand what I'm saying by this. If you have 20,000 missiles, you can't possibly shoot down 20,000 missiles. I mean, they would overwhelm your systems. Once they established that point of immunity, not only could they hold the world hostage with a nuclear program, they could hold the world hostage with the Straits. It's not the first time they've tried to control the Straits. And what they're doing is illegal. It violates every law on the books in terms of international law, which all these countries in Europe love to talk about. They have militarized the Straits. They are threatening to sink commercial vessels that don't pay them a toll. That's unacceptable to the whole world, not just to us.
Will Project Freedom return? Are we going to start bombing Iran again?
The reason why Project Freedom stopped was at the request of Pakistan. And they said, the Pakistanis said, if you guys stop Project Freedom, we think we can get to a deal. And so in the interest of diplomacy, the president would prefer to have a diplomatic solution to this problem with Iran. We went ahead and agreed to stop it. By the way, we agreed to stop it. We had destroyers inside the Persian Gulf. We said, okay, we're going to stop. We're moving our destroyers out. They get fired upon by the Iranians. And that's the activity you saw last week. We still prefer, the president strongly prefers a diplomatic solution. We're going to continue to try to work on one. We've given this regime in Iran every opportunity to reach one. But part of the problem we're having, frankly, is they're divided internally. Within Iran, they're divided internally, and it makes it hard to get counter proposals from them.
On that point, is the new Ayatollah part of any part of this negotiations? Do you have any evidence? Is there any understanding that the new Ayatollah is active in advising Iranians' leadership?
Well, I think what's clear is that the people we're negotiating with, like their foreign minister, is not the decision maker. So he has to go back to their system. Now, whether that's a council, a supreme leader, or what have you, it's not clear. But he goes back to someone and gets approval for what he's allowed to agree to and what not to agree to. In many cases, the feeling is we are negotiating with someone who then has to turn around and negotiate with someone in his own system, in his own country. So oftentimes it takes 4 or 5 days to get responses from the Iranian side. That's been an impediment here. It also, I think, is insight to the weakness of this regime at this point and what they're facing internally. But nonetheless, we're going to keep working at it because we'd like to see a diplomatic solution. That is our preference. I'm not going to talk about what the options that the president has. He has options to do other things if these diplomacy fails, but we're going to give diplomacy every chance to succeed.
How much longer are Americans going to have to wait?
Well, I won't put a timeline on how long it'll take to reach a diplomatic solution. We want to reach one. I think what has to happen, irrespective, is the straits have to be reopened. Understand, once again, just to reiterate, what they have decided is there's this international waterway. It doesn't belong to them.
I get it, but can that happen without Iran's cooperation? Can that happen?
Well, it can happen one of two ways. It can happen because the world, and either Iran decides to do it, or the whole world decides to impose a cost on them for what they're doing. And the whole 100-something countries at the UN have signed up and said we are against what they're doing. I think the job now is to get them to actually do something about it. Are they willing to diplomatically isolate Iran? Are they willing to impose sanctions on Iran to force them to remove those mines and stop shooting at ships that are going through the straits? Because let's be clear, it's hurt our consumers. There's no doubt about it, okay? We are not immune to global oil prices at some point because we do buy from the global market. But other countries around the world are paying a much higher price. They have as much or more to care about the straits than we do. They've got to get involved in this as well.
As the president was leaving for China, did he make a mistake when he told a reporter that America's financial situation isn't playing, quote, even a little bit of a role in his motivations to make a deal with Iran?
No, I think what the president is claiming is that Iran's not going to use that as leverage against us.
Doesn't that sound out of touch, though? I mean, Americans are spending so much for gas.
Because I think what the president is making clear is that we're not going to let Iran use that as leverage. Think about what the Iranians are thinking. The Iranians, and they watch this. Remember, there's no free press. There is no you in Iran, right? There is no press in Iran that can criticize the regime or say, create any pressure on them. And I think what the president's making clear is if the Iranians think that they are going to, use our domestic politics to pressure him into a bad deal, that's not going to happen. We've taken extraordinary measures to keep gas prices lower than they are in some other parts of the world, and it will go down. Those straits will be open, and we will see those prices go down. And actually, I think you're going to see a dramatic reduction in oil over time because all of that pent-up oil that's being held hostage by Iran, once that reaches the marketplace, it'll have a very positive impact. But I would also say there's a price attached to a nuclear Iran. If Iran ever acquires a nuclear weapon, they will immediately, what would stop them from controlling the straits then? And then forget about it being a 3-month or a 6-month problem. It could be a permanent one.
I want to turn to Cuba now. The State Department just re-upped the offer of $100 million in aid to Cuba. Cuba's foreign minister says that's an absolute lie, that there is no money coming. Are there any strings attached to that $100 million in aid?
The only strings attached is that they have to be distributed by non-governmental sources like the Catholic Church. I was at the Vatican last week. I spoke to the Catholic Church again. They're willing to play that role.
So what's the holdup? Cuba's lying?
Cuba. They're their holdup. They're lying. They lie all the time. How can he say it's not a real offer? We've made it to them privately. We're not making it public. There's $100 million. By the way, we've given them humanitarian aid. After the hurricane, we provided them $6 million of humanitarian aid, $3 million of which was distributed, $3 million of which is still being held up, but is available for them. Now we're saying here's $100 million of humanitarian aid. So I don't know if they watch your broadcast in Cuba, but if they are, the Cuban people should know there's $100 million of food and medicine available for them right now, and the only reason it's not reaching the Cuban people is because of the regime. No strings attached. The only string attached is it has to be distributed by I don't want non-governmental organizations. This can't be humanitarian aid that the government steals for itself.
In a year, will someone named Diaz-Canel or Castro be in charge in Cuba?
I don't know. I hope not, because if they are, then Cuba will probably not have progressed.
But is there still a plan for changing Cuba?
Sure. I mean, look, the change in Cuba is their economy doesn't function. It's not a functional economy.
No, I get that, but what is the U.S. plan? Though? I don't understand the U.S. plan.
Well, I wouldn't tell you exactly what our plan is because I don't want them to know what our plan is. But our plan for Cuba is a prosperous future. That's what we want. It's in our national interest. And to have a prosperous Cuba, not to have a failed state 90 miles from our shores. So how do you have a prosperous state where people can succeed? Understand Cubans. You know this. You understand this as well as I do because of where we come from. Cubans are successful everywhere in the world except one place, Cuba. And so that's what we want. We want Cubans not to have to leave that island in order to be successful. But they can't because the current model they have it's not just it's broken. It doesn't work. And it'll never change as long as the people that are there now are running it. They are closed-minded, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong. I would love for them to come to their senses and say, okay, we recognize this really has to change, and it has to change big. But right now, they don't seem to be indicating that. They seem to be digging in.
I have only a few more questions. I think we're getting close to time, but and I'm going to be honest with you because I have the timer here. I do want to ask you, going back to China, did the president bring up the case of Jimmy Lai?
The president always raises that case and a couple others. And obviously, we'll hope to get a positive response from that. But and some of these things are best handled outside of the spotlight, but it was raised. Those issues are always raised in our meetings.
Would the U.S. provide a safe haven for Jimmy Lai if China were to release him? Could he come to the United States?
I think we would like to see him released. The president's made that point publicly and in other meetings. We hope the Chinese system will be responsive to that, and we'd be open to any arrangement that would work for them as long as he's given his freedom. It's really at this point a humanitarian situation because of his age and health.
Yeah, 78. Two more questions. There was a tweet that went viral. It was put out by communications staffer Steve Chung. It showed you in a Nike tracksuit, and it said that you were on Air Force One wearing the Nike Venezuela gear, something to that effect. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
was
Steven
that
put that out.
was that some type of?
No, it's a comfortable
Were you trying
suit.
to send a sign?
No,
What's
no,
the context for
There's
that?
no context. It's a nice suit. I mean, I like it. It's comfortable.
It was the same one Maduro was wearing.
It is, but you know what? He copied me because I had it before. I don't know when he bought his. I don't even know that was his. The bottom line is that that's a suit that it's comfortable. I don't know. There was no message. I didn't even know he was taking the picture.
Okay, and then finally, I don't know if you were watching the president on Monday, but he was at the podium and he was maybe making a joke, but he was surveying the audience. And I know you're Secretary of State. You don't like to talk about your political future. But he asked a group of supporters to clap if they liked Vice President J.D. Vance or if they liked you better. Sounded like it was pretty even. What do you think about that? Would you want to be president?
No, look, I know this is going to sound like the typical job. I'm going to be in this job for the next 2.5 years. I'm going to do that job. I'm going to finish the job for this president. I'm enjoying it very much. I think we're going to make a lot of good things happen. JD is a very good friend of mine. If JD runs for president, I think he'd be a phenomenal candidate. I've said publicly, and I'll say it again, I'll be the first person to sign up and support him. I think JD would do great.
Would you want to be a vice president?
I want to be the Secretary of State, and I'll worry about the future in the future. I'm not saying, I'm not telling you that that's what I'm aiming for. I've been doing this for a long time, too. I was in the Senate starting in 2010, so I'd like to do some other things with my life at some point, although public service is an honor to be able to be involved in.
Okay. I do want to ask you, because we did so much reporting on Chinese EVs. There's two arguments against Chinese EVs in the U.S. One, from automakers, it'll cripple the industry because they're so cheap. But elected leaders have also said it's an issue of national security. Do you truly believe if China's EVs come to the U.S., it's an issue of national security?
Yes, because it'll wipe out an industry. Because it's not just the EV, it's all of the other things that go into making them, all the other components of it that are related to other industries as well. But ask the Europeans. The Europeans right now, their EV model, they're being flooded with Chinese EVs. It is wiping out their industry over there. So again, we already have a lot of critical vulnerabilities. There are already things we rely on in our economy where we get 95% of it or 85% of it from China. That's a vulnerability. We can't continue to allow it to expand to other fields.
Yeah. Mr. Secretary, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a bad interview. Now, I will say this, though. The President Trump, he promised no new wars, and we haven't started new wars. This war that Iran started with us was 47 years ago. President Trump is just finally putting a stop to it. But I think he's so genius on how he started. We started first by getting the Nicolas Maduro. We started by stopping drugs coming into our country. And the reason why, Stephanie, we make fun of Marco's suit is because it was the same suit that Nicolas Maduro was wearing when he was arrested here in the United States of America. So it's all good. It's just a joke, and it's all in good and fun and all that. But to YouTube, I think YouTube, somebody here was mentioning that we should hold people accountable for these wars. Well, let me give you what's the obvious of what is going on with Iran. See, our enemies, they're looking at how we interact. Our enemies are looking at how Congress reacts to Trump. Now, nobody's been able to do what Trump is doing. This is why he gets so much negative feed. And everybody, we're all emotionally compromised at some point, okay? But, yeah, that's right. He probably did. He probably took Nicolas Maduro's suit. That's probably why they're making fun of him. But you know, what I find interesting is that, this Congress that we have, instead of helping, right, they're fighting us every step of the way. And at some point, I'm going to have to start getting suspicious about this so-called Democrats in office, because it seems like they're fighting against us. And I say against us, I mean American citizens. They seem to want to help the communists who have been oppressing Cuba. They wanted to help Nicolas Maduro, who was killing and imprisoning the opposition, political prisoners. Democrats were supporting 90% of Venezuelans being poor. Think about it. Why? They were also defending the boats full of drugs, saying it was fishing boats. Why? Cuba was getting free oil. Let's make clear. It wasn't Cuba the people. It was the communist government that was getting the free oil, and they were selling it to their own people. Man, are you guys with me, right? You guys are paying attention. Again, the communist government in Cuba was getting free oil from Venezuela. Why was the people still paying for it? It's free. Should be free for the people, right? No, that's not how communism works. The communists are still going to charge the commodity as if they are actually paying the commodity. See, the Cuban people are paying more than what we pay for gas, because obviously they're running out of gas, out of oil. They're not getting the free oil from Venezuela. How is that not a sign that they don't care about the people? You gotta pay attention. Listen, I know I sound like a crazy Hispanic guy that became an American here, and I'm over here brown-nosing, kissing up to the orange man. I mean, don't be deceived by the orange face. I just haven't been able to fix the lighting here in my room. This room is it's very orangey for some reason. But anyways, I am a clown. But I like to talk about serious things when I need to talk about serious things. And right now, I'm going to give you another example of what socialist Democrats actually do in our state. Here is a new report for the local news.
Ken Griffin walked so Howard Schultz could run. The former Starbucks CEO is blasting Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson in a new Wall Street Journal op-ed, writing that the city, quote, has turned hostile to the great businesses it made, and Wilson's socialist rhetoric viles employers. Schultz didn't stop there, pointing to chronic homelessness and bloated budgets, warning that failed leadership is driving away the very companies and tax dollars that built the city. Is Seattle just the latest, or do you see this spreading?
Feels like it's a trend line. I mean, Ken Griffin last week, but you've seen the exodus of California CEOs mostly to Florida. A few have found their way into my hometown of Austin. It's an interesting moment right now because these cities really need to raise more revenue. And all the things they want to do, all the programs and all the welfares, everything, it requires more. And yet, for some reason, they're not only being hostile, but they're making it incredibly difficult to want to build a business or thrive in these.
Except that you, and Brian, maybe I'll punt this to you. Jensen Huang said, well, if they want to tax us more and do billionaires tax, I can pay more. And a lot of the founders are still going to Silicon Valley. If you want to be a startup, yes, there are other options.
Well, someone posted Jensen's all his different trusts and how he's managed. I mean, it's kind of like, is that actually the case, or is that just a nice way to shape the public rhetoric about it? Because after you've adjusted your taxes down to 13.1% net, because of all the different ways you can take advantage of your access to that kind of information. Sure, you're not paying a lot, and it's easy to say that. I just wonder how many of these actually are paying 40%.
Can I make a comment on this? Yeah. Specifically, Daniel, to what you said. I struggle with this, and I say if you want more money to implement all these programs like Mamdani's talking about here in New York City, why are you driving the Ken Griffins of the world away? And the only way I can sort of reason out of this to try to understand it is that they want to take what's there, take whatever else they can grab, and reallocate it. They want to degrade the standard of living. I actually am drawing a lot on my past experience today, but I lived in China for a while. You don't understand what a communist country looks like until you're living in one. And you see that 4 people live in 2 rooms. That's the family that I was living with. And they didn't have a car. We rode bicycles everywhere. And, going out for fancy meals, all these fancy clothes, none of this is how life was. And so when you think about what they're trying to do when they chase the billionaires away, in my view, these are blue states. These are self-proclaimed Democrat socialists who are really communist, using that kind of a cloak. That, to me, is what they're trying to do. That's the only way that I can make any sense of it. And once it happens to people that are living there, it will be too late because they won't really understand what happened until it's happened, and then they can't get out of it. Those are the people that can't afford to go across state lines to greener pastures.
Yeah, I can't speak to, I've not lived in China, but what I can say is there has to be some agenda other than trying to remove all the great businesses that help build these cities.
Dagan?
I think it'll take one large, important city to collapse in on itself. Like a Detroit, but bigger financially. A, Ford to New York drop dead moment, what happened in the 70s that with New York City, that's what it'll take, because the leftists are pushing even further left, despite the crime, despite the just filth, the homelessness. Like, these cities are not livable for the working man and woman, and they don't care. They don't care that, like, during 2020, they didn't care that we were getting chased down the street by marauding psychopaths. They don't care. So it will take something that compromises their power and control over the people.
I appreciate what Howard Schultz is saying here. I know
it's a little late.
I know he built a great company.
It's a little late.
But if you were as late as these CEOs are recognizing what happens to their cities as they were with their companies, none of them would be famous and they wouldn't be billionaires. They built their business and they co-signed everything that was happening in these cities because they didn't want to rock the boat. And now they leave because they can, and other people are stuck there trying to pick up the pieces. And Howard Schultz is just fine. He had political ambitions. I never heard him come out when he had political ambitions and stand strongly against any of this stuff. He didn't, because he didn't want to tick off the wrong people in the center left, okay? So I appreciate these guys, but if you're a business leader and a city has been home to the business you've built, you better the heck care about what's happening to its economy and its people before you hit the door and start saying things about it on your way out.
Yep.
This is a topic for another time, but I used to think Florida, my husband's from Florida, and he's like, Florida's red, it would never go blue again. But as people start migrating, the transient little 24-year-olds who I know who come here, they vote for Mamdani, and then 2 years from now they leave. They're taking those votes with them.
By the way, I in Austin, our school board election just took place, and I'm in the suburbs, the West, typically red, far in the hill country, and 2 board seats on our school board just went Democrat.
Yeah.
And they'd been long Republican and very liberal, and so
and not just Democrats,
we've had I mean, look,
they identify as animals. Furries. You can call them that.
The net of it is that you import. So when people start to go, and they don't necessarily leave with they leave with their wallets, but they bring their politics.
Yep.
So, of course it's beneficial to go, but they still bring their politics with them. And then people follow.
Watch out.
There you go.
Should we do GameStop and eBay? Where should I even begin? Okay, overnight, GameStop jumps 13% because Roaring Kitty posts something, but then an hour later it's deleted. Redditors think it was hacked. Still no idea what happened. But then, maybe in more fundamental news, eBay comes out and they say, we are officially rejecting your $56 billion takeover at GameStop because we don't think that it is attractive and there was no sort of credible financing plan. Who's excited about this?
You said Roaring Kitty, and I was like, oh my God, he's back.
Roaring Kitty.
Is that still a thing?
It is.
I just want to say half stock, half cash. I don't know.
Half stock, half cash. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. I will say this, guys. You guys are mentioning Nick Shirley. Now I can watch a video here from his interview. You know what? Let me see if I can give you guys a little bit. let's go ahead and let's take a little clip. Let me say this before I play this. I think that it's very courageous of Nick Shirley to go out there and expose himself out in public, because people can be very violent, on the street when they don't agree with you, when you're just different. And when you're truly an American that is giving everything for the United States of America, a lot of our enemies are going to jump on and try to destroy and shut them down. So I just hope that everybody's praying for Nick Shirley. He's doing a fantastic job, I think. And I really hope, maybe one day I get to meet him. It will be my honor to actually meet him, not the other way around. But let me go ahead and play this little clip from 8 hours ago so that we can go ahead and listen a little bit of what he's saying over there. I haven't watched any clips from him over there in England, but let's watch this one.
So Nick Shirley, you traveled from USA to come here to speak. Why it was important for you to speak here?
Well, I've been coming to these for the past 3 years now. Each year they get bigger and bigger, and I do think something is brewing here inside the United Kingdom. Every year people are more and more upset because of what's happening inside their country, and so I think it's something important for people to be aware of.
Are you aware that you might be banned in the future?
I've heard that those that speak today might be banned. I sure hope that's not the case, but it could be inevitable. I sure hope it's not, though.
London! USA! 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 Today I've walked with some of you here, and as I was walking, one sign really crossed my mind. There was a sign today that said we did not vote for open borders, digital ID, two-tier policing, higher taxes, loss of free speech, pedophiles in politics, higher cost of living. Now your media will call you far right, and your prime minister will call you guys dangerous. But the ideas of freedom of speech are not dangerous, or the idea that you want to know who your neighbor is does not make you dangerous. It means that you have common sense. We live in a world where common sense is becoming somewhat abstract to have. A lot of people don't have it these days.
What do you think of the fact that Keir Starmer used executive power to revoke visas of people who were supposed to speak or just attend? My boss has been banned. He's a journalist. He just wanted to cover this massive event. What do you think of that, of Keir Starmer doing this?
I think it's crazy. A lot of these people here, this is the United Kingdom, right? A lot of these people here don't even feel like they can speak. We're a country in the West. We should be able to, the people of Great Britain should be able to have freedom of press here. We have the freedom of press inside the United States. We should also have that here inside the United Kingdom. This is one of the main countries in the West that many countries have looked up to for a very long time. And when you see an attack on freedom of speech like that, it really makes you wonder where this country is going.
The UK needs our support. They are counting on us to show the truth. Go to TommyReports.com to support this mission and help cover my travel costs.
In the United States, we let an entire state commit billions of dollars in fraud because we were afraid, our politicians were afraid of being called racist or Islamophobic for speaking out against the fraud. Here in the United Kingdom, you guys had young women be raped by gangs of men, and your politicians allowed it because they're afraid of being called a racist or Islamophobic. That does not make you a racist for speaking truth. No one should have to worry about where their tax dollars go. No one should have to worry if it gets spent into fraud or not, because we should have the confidence in our politicians. We shouldn't have to worry that our daughters are having to be careful who they go around, or a young woman in Scotland who is 12 years old shouldn't have to walk with a hatchet at the playground. And I've been coming here to the United Kingdom for some time now, and each and every single year these marches get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think it is time that your Prime Minister and that your government takes heed to your words and takes heed to the caution that you guys are giving them, because change is inevitable here inside of the United Kingdom, and it doesn't need to be done, because everyone should have the right to say what they want and have the freedom of speech. And may God bless you all, and thank you, Tommy Robinson.
You know what? What he said there is so true. It's New England, like so many other countries, have allowed this terrorist to rape their women, to violate their minors, afraid of being called Islamophobe. We don't give a shit about being politically correct. You need to fight to protect your children. I want to say thank you so much to all of you guys for joining me today. God bless you. Listen, don't be afraid to tell the truth. Thank you for the likes. Thanks for the subscribes. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being members. Thank you for considering being a member. You guys all support me and you help me. You are the fuel to my fire, and I keep burning because of you guys. I want to thank all the patrons that have joined me. Thank you so much. We will get bigger. We will be huge. And we will not depend on the government to help our local communities. I promise you that. And whether I can be a good governor or I'm good for politics or not, I don't give a shit. If I can be of better service to you by being independent, let's fight together. Won't you join me? If you're an American citizen, a permanent resident, help me fight for this country. If I can fight for the military, I will definitely support them 100%. Those people deserve our support, and this country needs you. Period. Nothing else.